Okay, we have the green bars, we have the live counters ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network. It is the Paradox Hour podcast, and I just realized I didn't do the fucking stream info, because I got distracted.
Whoops.
Paradox Hour podcast. So, for anyone coming in here expecting, Persona 5 Royal, you're not getting it.
Rip.
Yeah, I just got distracted there. Oh boy.
We were the Persona users all along.
Persona? What? That's not one of the media of 2024. I've been lied to.
I mean, technically, it did come. There is a Persona game this year, so.
Yeah, but we
That is
already
what
talked about Metaphor last week.
Yeah, we talked about that for how long did we talk about that for? About 7 minutes, which is obviously nothing compared to the hour we spent on Veilguard.
Good God, you and I had a lot to say, though.
We probably could have just done an entire podcast on it on its own.
I still have things I want to talk to you about.
But yes, this is the media. So this is TVs, this is movies, this is books. We've got a podcast in here, and we've got a sports-related thing in here.
Hi.
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a fun time. I don't know if this will be as long as the gaming one, but it'll probably be. There's a lot to talk about.
We shall see, but coming up first, alphabetically, of course, it is Agatha All Along.
And it was Agatha all along.
This show is so fucking good.
I actually didn't end up watching it.
You didn't?
I did not. It was on the list, but I never got around to it. However, I've seen a lot of the clips and discussions around it.
I think you would enjoy it quite a bit.
I do too. Sorry, go ahead.
It's the most unapologetically queer of the Marvel Cinematic Universe properties so far by a country mile, for one.
In fairness, is that the hardest thing in the world to do?
Ordinarily, no, but this one goes above and beyond in that regard.
Part of the reason for that is because, I guess, spoilers. Spoiler warning for everything. But the kid, or the teen, right?
Yeah.
Is wicked.
Who is one of the most well-known gay characters in Marvel.
Like, he is a gay king. It's literally a gay king. Basically.
Mm-hmm. Like, again, one of the most well-known of Marvel's gay characters. Not to mention, Agatha is, like...
famous.
Yeah. Famous is definitely the word to use for her.
and then they brought in Aubrey Plaza, which is just fantastic.
Oh, Aubrey Plaza is fucking iconic in this role. I won't spoil... Actually, fuck it, I'll spoil it. She's Death. She's fucking
She
Death.
plays Lady Death.
And she just owns that role. She is great.
If only they mentioned Thanos or Deadpool, that would have been great. But I know they can't.
Honestly, it's funnier that they don't, because comic Thanos, his whole motivation revolves around death, and they just kind of excised that for the MCU. And on the one hand, I'm kind of annoyed by it, but on the other hand, I get it. At the same time, they kind of just transplanted a bit of that onto Agatha, and it's like, wait, Agatha, you fucked Death? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, though, if you're gonna pick a character,
Catherine Hahn's Agatha Harkness is probably the perfect character for that, yeah. Catherine Hahn's fucking great in this, by the way.
whoever they got for the other witches also.
Oh yeah, no, the whole cast is excellent. Patti LuPone gets the opportunity to do some great singing, and she knocks it out of the park. I'm pretty, if I recall correctly, she's a Broadway legend, so that 100% tracks.
There was there was a interview I saw, I think with Aubrey Plaza, where she was talking about interactions she had with Patti LuPone, where like essentially Patti LuPone gave her drug.
That's amazing.
I'll send you the interview at some point if I remember where it was. But it was like, oh yeah, this all tracks. All of this is like correct.
Yeah, other cast members include Joe Locke, Sashir Zamata, Ali On, Miles Gutierrez, Riley, and a few holdovers from WandaVision, including a surprise appearance from Evan Peters.
Who else was it? Oh, it was Kitty from Third Rock, or from that '70s show. Kitty from that '70s show.
I don't remember that '70s show. Are you talking about Deborah Jo Rupp?
Yep.
Yeah, she's fun in the show.
I love her. She was hilarious in that '70s show. Excellent here. No notes.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, this is a really interesting show, and part of what makes it so good is that it is very, like, it doesn't shy away from how much of an asshole Agatha is.
Right, which is kind of the fear I had with a villain show like this, because like it'd be very easy for them to be like, she was secretly a good guy, because that's kind of where Agatha comics.
It does not go along with that. It does explain why she is the way she is, but does not excuse why she is like that.
Right.
Which is
I think
kind of the needle you need to thread with this.
Like, so for context, comics Agatha is very famous for not only being Wanda's mentor, but being the mentor to Wight.
Yeah. She's very much a good mentor figure in the comics, so them making her a villain here is a bit unusual, but at the same time, it works very well with what they've done.
She was kind of villainous in her very, very first appearances. However, like, later appearances softened her or recharacterized her as a good guy.
Yeah. Also, fun thing, this is not the first time she has been sapphic. That was actually, that video game from, last year.
Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yep. But yeah, there's this really fun line, I think in episode like 6 or 7, where she's like, "You want straight answers, ask a straight lady," which is great line, no notes.
By the way, more people should have played Marvel's Midnight Suns. It was actually a good one.
I need to get around to that at some point. I have not done much of my Steam account lately, so I'll get around to it at some point.
The lack of your review from you, Jack, was very telling.
Yeah, I played 2 games. I played Tabletop Sim and Civ, and I did not log that many hours on either. But yeah, Agatha All Along is very good. There was another show in a similar vein that came out on the DC side, Penguin, that I did not watch much of, so I didn't put it on the list. I plan to get around to it eventually, but that one's a lot grittier and darker than this one, so I kind of was not in the mood for it.
It's gritty in the way Gotham.
Yeah, I figured as much.
And like, the character they got to play, like, just kind of jumping off to Penguin a bit.
Oh, they got Kristen Milioti in it, and she's great from what I've seen.
And the person they got to play Cobblepot himself, also fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, he was great in the Batman, and he's great in Penguin, unsurprisingly.
But yeah, no, it's a good time.
You would not recognize him under all that makeup, and it's all really good. He's really good. But yeah, Agatha All Along is surprisingly very good. The music in the show slaps, and all the cast is excellent. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. Between this and Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel actually put out some really good stuff this year. They just didn't put out much.
They didn't put out a big...
Deadpool and Wolverine was their only big thing this year, and this was the only other thing of note that they put out that I can recall. Wait, did they put out Secret Invasion this year?
No.
Or was that last year?
I think that was
Last
last year.
Okay. I don't remember because I didn't watch that because that one sucked.
I'm really disappointed in that one.
I'm not shocked. But yeah, anyways, Agatha All Along is very good. I do recommend checking it out. Just make sure you watch WandaVision first. That's the big one.
So they had season 3, of What If that's pretty much just come out. Actually, no, it hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out in 3 days.
It's due to come out on Christmas, yeah.
Yeah. And they had Echo.
I didn't watch Echo. I think that's because they released it initially on Hulu, and I wasn't really using Hulu that much.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus and Hulu. Says so. Yeah, I think those are the.
I need to get around to that one at some point.
I think those are the only stuff they've released this year.
Yes. Next year is going to be a lot more stacked Marvel stuff.
Well, they've got Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart in terms of TV, and then they've got Captain America Brave New World and Thunderbolts in terms of movies.
I have high expectations for Thunderbolts, just because the trailers have been fun.
And Fantastic Four.
I also have high expectations for that because of the cast. Because Pedro Pascal is always excellent.
I forgot they cast it for that.
Yeah, no, the whole cast for the Fantastic Four is great. They got Pedro Pascal for Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby for Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn for Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Bachrach for Ben.
And poor Blade is still TBD.
There's actually a joke about that in Deadpool and Wolverine, but we'll get to that.
I love Wesley Snipes.
He's great.
He's not a good person, but he's hilarious.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll get to that in a sec. But yes, we should probably move on.
Okay, moving on then to Arcane Season 2. Well, we went from one sapphic show to another.
Oh, yes. Very sapphic this season. Oh, God. This was so good. Did you watch this one, Ken? Or were you busy?
I never got around to it. It was on the list, but never happened.
Yeah, they did a lot of stuff in this season. I will say this season was a little bit less focused than the first season, and it didn't quite hit the high highs of season 1, but it still was very good.
Yeah, I've heard very similar things. Like, not to kind of overstep here, but like from what I've heard and like seen clips of, it is the kind of show where like the story suffered, but the animation still kicked so much ass.
I wouldn't say the story suffered per se so much as it wasn't as high quality as the first season, which some would argue is semantics, but the first season is in the fucking stratosphere, so it's kind of unfair to compare literally anything else to it.
Yeah, it was always gonna fall short. Yeah.
Like it's like one of the archetypal tough acts to follow in general. But yes, it's still very good, and I am quite happy with what we got. There's a lot of crazy shit that goes on in season 2, let me tell you.
So how far did they actually get in terms of, let's say, X-rated stuff?
There is a scene in episode 8 where Vi goes down on Caitlyn.
Alright.
It is like...
You needed to know.
like,
how long
what
does
else am I
it
supposed to say to
linger?
that?
How long does it linger? Interesting.
It's probably the most explicit it can be without actually showing boobs or genitals.
Alright.
Like, that is about as far as it goes. It's pretty explicit. It cuts right as, yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, no, it's very good. They do a lot of interesting stuff with the main cast. There's a lot of really interesting stuff with Jinx, with Vi, with Victor, with Caitlyn, with Jace even. You get to see Jace in his hobo era, his caveman era rather. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in this. How do I even describe what happens here? God, I wish I had someone to bounce off of on this one, but yeah.
Sorry, this was just.
This year has not been the best for you. I know there's been a lot going on for you. Hey, you have read and watched stuff though, and we can talk about that stuff when we get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, while this is not quite at the pinnacle of media that is season 1 of Arcane, like being close to the pinnacle that is season 1 of Arcane is still like fucking excellent.
Yeah, and like even if like you're not much of a fan of Suri, let's be honest, like the art alone is worth giving.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, shall we move on?
Alright, let's move on to Batman Caped Crusader.
I love Harley Quinn.
This version of Harley Quinn is really interesting.
I love Harley Quinn. I love what they did with Penguin. I'm really excited. I really like what they do with Helena Carter. I think Barbara Gordon is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I even like what they did with Bruce, and like really leaning into the Bruce Wayne side of things, and making Bruce Wayne have to engage, like making the character have to engage in that way.
Yeah, I only have a couple minor quibbles with this one. Namely, I do wish there was a little bit more of a not even split, but like a more focus on Batman and Bruce in general, because like it did feel like he did get not as much screen time as is necessarily merited a main character in some ways, if that makes sense.
No, I totally understand that.
But overall, I still think he was afforded quite a bit of stuff. And the rest of the cast was, oh boy. There was some very fun stuff in this one.
Also, like, the kind of bringing back Bullock from the comics, and also Batman the Animated Series, and like kind of setting the playing field in that way for Bullock and like his corrupt cop partner.
Yeah. Honestly, this is probably the biggest asshole version of Bullock I've seen.
It's about par from what I remember, but like, God, his partner's such a twit.
Oh no, absolutely. Forget who is his partner in this one.
I forgot the name, but like, ooh.
I'll look it up.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, this is still very good content. Like, I am very much interested in what they do with the next season. Oh, Flash, that's who it was. Flash is always the corrupt one in the comics.
He is. It's kind of great.
Yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate the arc they gave Harvey Dent in this. I do wish that we would be seeing more of him in the future, but he still had a really good character arc in the show. Ken?
Sorry, one more time?
I really like the Harvey Dent's character arc in this, even if I am kind of disappointed that we won't be seeing more of him in the next season.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like I feel like Harvey has gotten a lot of screen time as a character. Yeah,
I can appreciate that, which is why I'm also happy that we barely see the Joker at all in this series. Like literally,
I'm so tired of the Joker.
I get it. The tease of him at the end makes sense though, because he's always going to be a big Batman villain. You can't really get rid of him entirely.
In terms of Harvey, was it actually Harvey or was it Two-Face?
It was Harvey for most of the season. He only is Two-Face for the last couple episodes.
So, kind of like the backdrop of Crusader is that it's essentially year one Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is Batman in his first several go-arounds.
Okay.
Like, the Penguin is just starting to get into power. Harvey's still Harvey. The Joker's not a major player. The only big change in terms of villain is Harley. In this one, Harley is an established character. She's a psychotherapist who's already adopted the Harley Quinn persona.
I would say there's...
But she uses it to essentially kidnap and mentally destroy billionaires.
Yes, which, great.
I mean, you can't argue with that.
Yes. There are two other notable changes, namely in in Selena Kyle being much more leaning into the socialite version rather than the desperate urchin who's stealing to survive version that's become much more popular in recent years. And the other big one is, Penguin.
Who is essentially a woman kind of leaning into... Like, it's almost like they're making her... they're leaning into the depiction of Cobblepot's mother rather than Cobblepot.
Yes. Bit of a composite character situation. But yeah, no, it's still really good. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. I did, the other thing I wasn't a big fan of was, I'm more mixed on it. It was the Robin's cameo in the Nocturne episode. I was kind of mixed on that.
I forget, was that actually Robin, or was it...
So, it was not necessarily Robin, but it was, characters named Dickie, Jace, Steffi, and Carrie.
Hilarious. Okay, that's funny.
It might just be a mythology gag, not actual,
It's actually pretty funny. It
is funny. Yeah, no, it's funny, but I do like Carrie was the best one there because you never see Carrie killing fucking anything outside of.
Actually, started appearing in the comic.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
She started getting mentioned as they've really leaned into the larger Bat family.
Yes.
Which may or may not have something to do with the comic we've got next on the list.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a sec.
I love those. I love the next one.
Oh yeah, you want to just dive straight in?
Yeah, let's just go into it. Let's do it.
Alright, let's move on then to Batman Wayne Family Adventures.
The series is so good.
Yeah.
I love the depiction of Jason. I have always had I've had a problem with how they depict Jason, particularly right before Death of the Family, and then immediately after Under the Red.
Yeah, Jason's had a lot of really not great depictions in the comics. I will say, the two time periods you're talking about, as well as a lot of the early New 52 stuff with him was also not great. But this version of Jason is perfect.
Yeah, I have very few comments. Really letting Dick be the old brother. Like that he is giving like kind of more, what's the word I want to use here, like nods to the fact that Jason's actually pretty damn smart. Like he's actually the bookworm of the family.
Yeah, not making him into a total meathead is really good. And
Tim
also acknowledging his friends is really good.
Right, like Tim is the detective of the group, and like is genuinely the smartest one. However, it
doesn't mean the others are dumb.
Right, and Jason especially is actually a good student.
I mean, I think what it does well is it shows that they all have different specialties in terms of intelligence. Like, yes, you know, Tim is the most book smart of them, but Jason obviously has street smarts.
Street smarts!
Well, and not even that, but like, even, so like, this is kind of like getting back to it, but like, when you get Jason originally, he was the good, he was not, he was never bad boy. If you want bad boy Robin, that's Dick, actually.
How the times have changed.
Like, Dick Grayson was never golden. We remember him as golden, but in the actual comics, like, he's out for bloody vengeance. It's Jason who actually is, like, plucky and, like, just happy to be there.
Look, I mean, we can tell by the height of Jason's Robin shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem was that the guy who was writing Batman at the time hated Jason.
Well, that tracks with how he ended up.
The problem with 90% of comics is like, and then the X-writer hated Y character.
And
decided
to ruin them.
Well, and like, we can get into this another time, but like, this was a moment. Like, we can get into it. It's like, there's an actual backstory to how Death in the Family came about.
Oh yeah, no. If I remember correctly, there was a poll put out to decide whether or not Jason lived or died, and it just narrowly came out in favor of him dying.
There's a whole story behind it. Again, we should probably just like get back to it, like get back to this later. But like, it's definitely something really interesting to talk about.
So, I mean, obviously, you know, there's the light-hearted stuff, but certainly in the most recent series of chapters, it's been going a lot more serious focused, and it's been doing it really well.
Yeah, it's towed the line excellently.
Did they go over like did they have like the Duke kidnapping and?
Yeah.
That was really good.
So, I mean, it's the Duke kidnapping, but it's also Bruce's reaction to it, and, you know, going more towards what, you know, I assume, you know, actual comic Bruce would do, of trying to freeze them out, and both, you know, physically and emotionally. But this is a series that will not let him do that, and, you know, the kids.
This is the beauty of having the Bat Family.
Yeah.
This is why the Bat Family.
Yeah, exactly.
But the kids had to go the nuclear option of calling in mom.
I love how Selena is the unofficial mom at this point. She's really grown up the family.
I saw like one of those like TikTok AI stories where like an AI voice reads kind of like a Tumblr post, and one of them was like, all of the kids have done I'm gonna go to mom's, and Bruce is like initially like, what the fuck does that even mean? Until like he runs into Selena Kyle's Catwoman and her brand new sidekick Stray. Like there's been a Duke Stray, a Dick Stray, a Tim Stray, and for a while there was no Damien Stray, and then there was. Yeah, but like the fact that like they really lean into Bruce is the dad. Bruce is the dad of the Bat family, and not make him this kind of big loner like he is like say JLU or other depictions.
Honestly, I think this is probably the best.
For it.
They put a lampshade on it at one point because they have a chapter where like I think various Justice League members come to Gotham and interact with the entire Bat family, and it's like, I thought you worked alone. This is why I didn't want you to come to Gotham. I told you to stay out of there.
I mean, the joke is that Gotham. I mean that Bruce initially has here. A no meta rule in Gotham.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that no one. It's just that not that. It's just that no one bothers.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bruce is like, I have a rep.
I got a reputation to uphold.
Meanwhile, he's just the softest soft boy. It's great.
Yeah. Also, this is probably my favorite depiction of Batman since the DCAU.
Honestly, like I actually really like this one. Pattinson's Batman actually also.
Which one?
Pattinson's.
Ooh, yeah. Like between this one, Pattinson, and Arkham, the Arkham series, Bruce Wayne's been getting some really good depictions lately, and also Cape Crusader as well.
That's kind of why I'm like not mad about the Cape Crusader not focusing on Bruce.
Yeah, no, I get that. There's been a lot.
And like,
oh yeah, I haven't even watched Lego Batman.
And also, like, don't even forget, like, there's also the For Girls show where they do actually have the best depiction in my mind of Wayne.
Oh, what show now?
There's a show that's like all of the female superheroes, like Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batgirl.
Oh, was it Superhero Girls or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Hold on.
Yeah, I haven't watched that, but I've heard it's pretty fun.
It has my favorite depiction of Bruce Wayne. Hold on. Because it is this like, oh, you nailed it. You nailed the thought. Like what? Hold on, I'm posting it in our chat because it's actually really good.
Yeah. Now the whole storyline, the Joker storyline in this season of Wayne Family Adventures has been excellent. I do like how they resolved the whole argument between Bruce and his kids. And not gonna lie, like, I do like the depiction of Bruce and Selina's relationship in this. It's probably the best handling of their relationship I've seen in a while outside of the Batman. It's definitely better than that one recent comic storyline.
We shall never name that one. That's the one we do not name.
Yeah, no. I'm not a fan of that writer.
Not a lot of people were.
In fairness, like, the previous storylines were really good, and then that mess. How do you fuck that up?
I don't even want to ask. Honestly, I'm happy just sticking with this being my, exposure to proper comic Batman.
This is probably the definitive version of Batman in my mind at this point.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of, like, Wayne Family Adventures, Cape Crusader, Pattinson, and a few others have been like, yeah, no, this is... Some people fully understand the Bat.
Yeah.
In the same way that some people, like, with the new, spoilers, the new Superman trailer.
Yes,
like,
yes.
James Gunn really understood the suit. Or really seems to understand.
See, Zack Snyder, this is what you're supposed to do. Actually pay attention to what the comics show.
Well, I mean, it's from what I remember of what Gunn has said, he's putting a big focus on the fact that it's not just Superman. You've also got to focus on Clark Kent.
Yes, exactly.
They are two parts of the same character, and not focusing on one of them means the lessening the impact of the other.
Like, there's a reason Superman is such a beloved hero, is like arguably my favorite hero.
He's also great in Wayne Family Adventures when he shows up.
Yes, he is.
Not shocked.
But yeah, like, honestly, you can tell this is written by someone who understands the characters.
Understands and loves the characters.
Yes. Exactly.
Because it'd be easy to be like, blah, 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 blah. But no, this is actually someone who gets it.
Because I mean, you mentioned Lego Batman Jack, and from the clips I've seen of it, obviously I'm not the biggest comics guy. I don't have the biggest interest in Western comics, just because I know what they can be like.
A clusterfuck, yes.
Yeah, but to me, from the clips I've seen of Lego Batman, it sort of goes too far in the parody direction of just not really taking him seriously. Obviously nowhere near to the same extent, but well, no, I'm not even going to mention that. That's maybe a false comparison. But Wayne Family Adventures manages to poke fun at the aspects of Batman that should have fun poked at them, but then it manages to do stories that show the good that Batman brings to Gotham and the good that the entire family brings to Gotham and to each other. It manages to straddle that line between being a comedy that doesn't take itself too seriously without sort of going too far in that direction.
Oh, I 100% agree on that front. I will say, with regard to the Lego Batman, at least what I know of it, it's definitely made by people who know a lot about the comics and are absolutely love digging deep into the nitty-gritty of like comics lore for shits and giggles.
It's the difference between
But it's definitely made with an eye for parody and just
satire.
making it children satire. Whereas this is less.
It's Dragon Ball. It's like, what if TFS Dragon Ball?
But Batman, yes.
Yeah, like that's kind of the vibe it is, right? It's not. It knows the story really well. It tells the story, but it's doing so with the knowledge and like understanding of how this character in particular is perceived within the public consciousness. And I think it's a rough depiction because Batman depictions have been rough.
Yeah.
But it's a good depiction of that vibe.
But yeah, Wayne Family Adventures been really good. Every time there's a new chapter, I will go straight to it because I really enjoyed it. And I will often reread chapters if I get if I'm just happen to be on the Webtoons app, I'll go, I'll read a few Wayne Family Adventures chapters. It's definitely a really good series. But we should probably move on to the podcast on our list, which is Behind the Bastards.
This is a really good podcast. It's hosted by Robert Evans of Cracked fame. And it basically just goes into the life and background behind a lot of really awful people throughout history. They did recent episodes going into Robert E. Lee and Thomas Jefferson, for example, which were really good. Yeah, fuck Robert E. Lee. They actually do a really good job of deconstructing the mythos around Robert E. Lee and showing just how much of an actual asshole he was. Which was really enlightening for me, honestly. Like, I did not know how much of an actual just the depths of scumbaggery that Robert E. Lee would actually sank to.
No, he's a monster. Like, I have read a lot about I've read a lot about Jefferson, specifically Jefferson. But yeah, no, it's easy to forget, especially with like the narratives around the South.
Oh yeah, the whole
Lost
Lost
Cause.
Cause. They also go into Lost Cause a little bit. Though there's a bit more on that on one of the other channels from Cool Zone Media, the parent company of this one.
It's a good fun fact, like I almost did a minor in history when I was in college.
Ooh.
Like that was actually a like almost kind of decision.
Damn. Oh yeah, they're currently doing a series on P. Diddy.
Hilarious. As Josh Johnson, a comic that I like a lot, would often say, P. Diddy's the devil.
Oh yeah, no. It's 3 parts. Most of the series they do are 2-parters.
Yeah.
He did a 6-parter on Kissinger.
Bill, just for reference, P. Diddy is... So you know how like Tupac and Biggie are like very famously gangster?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, like his father and like a man his father was really good friends with were actual gangsters.
Right.
Like they actually did some nonsense.
Yeah, like mafia shit.
Like P. Diddy ordered hits. And like Diddy grew up around someone who would kill him.
In a nutshell, P. Diddy is fucking scared. But yeah, I'll have to listen to those episodes of the podcast.
It's a good one. Like P. Diddy's an interesting guy.
I already saw the Josh Johnson stand up on him.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Really good.
He's good.
Yeah, no, he's good. But yeah, Behind the Bastards, though, really good podcast. They occasionally have some other alums from Cracked on, like Sean Baby or Cody Johnston or and such. And yeah, no, they put out a lot of good stories.
Didn't you say they'd done one on Vince McMahon?
They did. That was also a 6-parter.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He's done a lot of bad shit.
To be fair, the first part and a good chunk of the second part were more on detailing like the origins of like professional wrestling and how Vince McMahon and his family became part of that industry.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of good episodes even just this year. There was a 3-parter on Peter Thiel, which is very 3 or 4-parter on Peter Thiel, which is very interesting.
Peter Thiel.
Yeah, no, he sucks too. Look, you don't usually get on the show if you're not a horrible, horrible person. That's kind of the point. But yeah, no, they do a lot of really good deep dives onto to why these people suck. They're apparently planning on doing a Richard Nixon one at some point, which will be very interesting. I mean, they already did Kissinger, so...
The other great bastard of the...
Oh, they've done parts, like, tackling aspects of Ronald Reagan as well, but I don't think they've done, like, a whole ass a set of episodes dedicated to him specifically. They did do an episode, a couple episodes on his response to the AIDS crisis specifically, though. Which was, depressing. But yeah, no, as long as you have, like, you're open to learning about all this stuff and, you're able to take some of the darker material that they discuss, because there are some really dark and fucked up topics on this one. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Mm.
Yeah, no, No, I also recommend it highly. I could also just based on the way Jack is talking about it. I've not listened to it, but yeah, it sounds like hilarious. It sounds great.
Yeah, most of the episodes at least have enough comedy in them to kind of lift the mood up here and there. The Kissinger episodes in particular had a really good guest duo who just had me absolutely laughing my ass off at some of the jokes. They did a really funny drunk Nixon bit that was just absolutely gut busting.
Hilarious.
But yeah, definitely check it out if you're interested in history and are willing to listen through the shittiness of historical people. Some of whom are still alive, unfortunately.
Alright, let's move on to... It's not just one book, it's 3 books in... Well, it's a trilogy. So we move on to... The Burning Kingdoms trilogy by Tasha Suri.
So, what if South Asia, South Asian fantasy, where the empire, well, the ruling empire of the region, had a whole religion based around the Fire Keepers from Dark Souls? With me so far?
Yeah.
More or less.
And one of the ways in which they have this religion, one of the reasons why they have this religion around fire keepers, is because they fought a war against a bunch of people who worship the Scarlet Rot from Elden Ring.
Fun stuff.
We open on 2 characters, Priya, a maid, and kind of low caste, low rank, whatever you want to call it, woman from that nation of the Scarlet Rot worshippers, and the other main character that we follow is Malini, princess to the Empire, whose brother is trying to burn her at the stake.
Okay.
That he can,
Fun.
so that not only solidify his power, but also summon the most powerful fire in the world. Also, he thinks if you haven't guessed, Priya and Malini are lesbians, or are very sapphic. And we find out later on that one of the other reasons why Malini's brother wants to burn her at the stake is because he thinks she's for being a lesbian.
Okay.
Oh, so he's a douchebag. Cool.
Oh, he's the worst. He gets got in the second book. It's fantastic.
Excellent.
But one of the best parts about it is we've all read Locked Tomb in the podcast, right?
I was gonna say I'm getting a little bit of the Locked Tomb vibe, just a little bit here.
Yeah. What if Hera was actually had power, political power?
Ah.
And Riddle, not just a big buff person, but was also the hype of an enemy empire.
Oh.
The book's really good. It's really well written. I do think there's some pacing issues throughout the novels, particularly with the third one. It really rushes itself towards the end, trying to tie up all the loose ends, which is hard for any kind of trilogy in this vein, right? But there is this really good sense of this is a author that understands kind of the power of queer romance and the importance of having not just good people be queer. Right? Malini's a bastard, a right bastard. She is not a good person. I would argue almost sociopath. In like honestly the best way. Because like it's like the kind of sociopathy that's like very self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you have Bria, who is just an idiot, really like is given all this power and no training or ability to like think, like to really kind of lean into how do I wield this power effectively. And it is also a story about like how do people from different backgrounds wield power and try to wield that power. It's good. A solid 8 out of 10. Honestly, if you're really looking for something that's not a Eurocentric fantasy, which is really hard to find, surprisingly, this is a good one of those.
I have the first book, and I'm planning on reading it at some point, so...
I will say, trigger warning for, like, you know, women being murdered, for being women, drug abuse.
None of that surprises me, but I do appreciate the warnings. I appreciate the warnings.
Yeah, like, it's very explicit, but in that way, so...
Yep.
So yeah, I really recommend it. Like, truly.
Alright, let's move on then to, as we discussed before, the only Marvel movie offering on the list. It is Deadpool and Wolverine.
When you call my name like a list.
So, that song is fucking stuck in my head.
Oh my
so
god.
good.
It's so stupid, I love it.
I only just watched the movie. I only just watched the movie today, and I didn't even properly watch it. That song's still been stuck in my head for like ages.
Yeah. The fucking opening scene though with the
Bye, and fucking Deadpool using Logan's adamantine skeleton to kill the fucking TVA agents.
That's so fucking funny.
Very good. It's very good.
Yeah. Like, I cannot overstate how funny this movie is.
No, it's very, very funny. To be fair, all of the Deadpools have been funny, but I mean, having fucking Wolverine there, having Logan there to bounce off of Deadpool, just
Very specific. Not just any Wolverine.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Yes.
And not just any Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
The Wolverines.
A completely fucking done Hugh Jackman Wolverine. Like, done with everything.
Good.
Yes. I do love the montage of Deadpool going through the Wolverines and just like...
Oh, the fucking comic-accurate height Wolverine. Who's fucking 5'4".
Well, in fairness, they've made him significantly shorter than that in that shot. That was not 5'4", but the sight gag was hilarious.
And then Cavalry.
Cavalry, yes! Great cameo, no notes.
The fucking shot at DC as well.
Wolverine is very much like Batman to me, where he has been overexposed. So I'm really glad like you have a bunch of writers who are actually willing to take a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, and this is clearly like the writers know and care about these characters enough to poke fun at them while still respecting most of them to have, some degree of dignity.
Yeah.
Rip Johnny. That fucking stinger.
I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I really hope it is. Fucking Chris Evans only agreed to come back if he could swear as much as he wanted.
But I believe that. That does make sense.
That's
And
perfect.
here's the thing. I said I didn't watch it properly. The reason why I say that is because what I did was I watched the sort of cut together reaction of it from the reaction channel that I watch, Blindwave. They're so good at it that you essentially get the movie anyway. But their reaction when, you know, they thought it was fucking Captain America, and then it's like, holy shit, it's Johnny Storm instead.
Yes.
I mean, their reactions to a lot of the stuff. I mean, their reaction to Calverine was fucking great. Their reaction to, you know, Blade, Elektra, Gambit, and Laura, just fucking stupendous.
Who did they get to play Gambit? I forget.
Gambit.
Yeah, that's it, Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Which is also,
I mean, Channing Tatum,
Like,
poor Channing Tatum,
it's funnier.
Channing Tatum has apparently waited to do this for so long to play Gambit properly.
He was cast as Gambit in a Gambit movie that got canceled when the Disney acquired Fox.
And you could just tell how much he was loving just doing the fucking accent as well.
Gambit, Gambit and Blade are two of, those characters who I love seeing every time.
Yeah.
Because they're so fun to watch a writer figure out, how a story, wants to. And, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really fun seeing them. Ooh, I'm gonna make them name myself.
I mean, the comparison that the reactors went to in terms of the cameos in this movie was Flash. Like this year's Flash movie that fucking bombed for a multitude of reasons. But
right. Yes. Barely.
You know, what they were saying was that Flash, you know, had all these cameos, but didn't really seem to respect them. They were cameos for the sake of cameos. Whereas in Deadpool and Wolverine, the cameos were because these were, you know, beloved characters who, for one reason or another, didn't really get, you know, get a chance, get the treatment they deserved. I mean, fucking Gambit didn't even get treatment; they just got fucking axed, which was, you know, referenced by him saying, you know, I kind of think I was born here. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Also, the villain is suitably creepy, especially the way you choose their powers.
The fucking power usage for Cassandra. Oh my god. That was
the eye through the head was just the hand through the head, rather.
Fucking creepy every time it happened.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, it's just a squeegee, you know? Yeah.
Oh Jesus, that was just so rough. And then he obviously had all the fucking Deadpool variants. Oh, nice, Paul. You were too nice for this world.
Oh yeah, that was funny. Also, whatchamacallit? The whole bit of Wolverine and Deadpool saving the universe by holding hands and stuff, and then Wolverine's shirt just gets destroyed.
Yeah, just
and
the
Deadpool
shirt.
Takes a second to check him out.
Just the shirt.
There's also this really good for all the jokes that Wolverine Deadpool is. The scene of, I forget who it was, the agent talking to Deadpool about, you brought me the worst Wolverine.
Paradox, yeah. I mean, both of the sort of arcs and there's sort of parallel arcs that Deadpool and Wolverine go on of, you know, Deadpool wanting to matter and wanting to actually get to do something that matters, while Wolverine had the chance to do something that mattered, but missed out on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that parallel development of, you know, them helping each other get there was really well done, I thought. In between, obviously, all these comedies and all these cameos, you know, there is this really solid story to the movie.
Yeah. And I do think, the overall cast works really well in conjunction with one another. You have two main villains pushing and pulling against each other, with differing enough demeanors that they are entertaining in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You have the various cameos who all like are very entertaining
Mm-hmm.
in their own ways, and you have the core dynamic of Deadpool and Wolverine who bounce off each other excellently. Honestly, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have some of the best chemistry in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
It's very good that they brought them together because they do actually have really good chemistry.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could tell that like, yes, Hugh Jackman has said that he never wanted to do Wolverine again. However,
But the moment he got a chance to do a movie with Ryan Reynolds and do it with Deadpool and Wolverine, he was jumped at the chance. I'm sure.
Of course, he's going to be doing this till he's 90 now.
it wasn't even like a. This is like a he's doing it for a cheap bit. It's like they came in with an intent. Because like I loved Logan. Logan was really good, and like I was just getting out of my what's the word I want to use here? Like I was just getting out of my like, oh my fucking god, stop with the Wolverine shit phase, you know?
Yeah.
And so like to have a Logan like a Wolverine that's like, no, Hugh Jackman knows this character well and is trying is like refreshing.
I mean, that's the thing. Even with the temptation of obviously doing this movie with Ryan Reynolds, I'm willing to bet that Hugh Jackman would not have come back had there not been this level of story behind it.
Oh, absolutely not.
And like, I have my opinions on Reynolds, like as a person. Partially because like, as a person, he feels very forced and fake. And like that's just in the way he carries himself and his demeanor, and like that is an affectation that he has cultivated and put on, and like it works for him because that is the kind of characters he does.
Yeah.
Right. It works because like it helps sell his character. However, I don't also like that. Also doesn't mean that I don't think he's good at what he does. Like he's a good writer. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
He knows what he.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that he is, he is absolutely willing to make himself look, silly and stupid in these movies is such a boon when you do have actors, in these big superhero blockbusters that aren't willing to do that. Cough, The Rock.
Oh my god.
Oh, I don't know if we'll have another point to talk about The Rock, but we can talk about The Rock at some point.
He's got to go over, brother. He's got to go over.
God damn it.
We were talking about Red 1, but I don't think I watched it yet. So.
No, I haven't watched it. Of course I've not fucking watched it.
I don't think it's really worthwhile at this point.
Look, Rock.
Yes.
You've got to get beaten down at some point so that the comeback looks better. That doesn't work for me, brother. That doesn't work for me.
God, the ego on that man. But anyways,
I mean, the worst thing is he's not even the worst wrestler for that. He's honestly upper mid tier for wrestlers in terms of not willing to put somebody over. Oh, Hulk Hogan. Oh God.
Hulk. Even the Undertaker was kind of bad.
The Undertaker was more forced into it a lot of the time, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the Undertaker because talking about the Undertaker has to now go into his politics, and I hate that so much.
I know. Anyway, let's continue.
Can people stop coming out as right-wing shit heels? It's really ruining a lot of enjoyment of stuff for me.
Yeah, the Jonas Brothers was the worst so far for me.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So, fun fact, if you weren't aware, Lady Pool was played by Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kid Pool,
Likely.
Kid Pool and Baby Pool were played by two of Reynolds' kids.
Hilarious.
That's great.
So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, this is a fun movie that does have, a solid heart to it.
Mhm.
We'll see if it actually, comes into the MCU proper at any point, but for now, it's absolutely fine.
They did leave themselves an out if they wanted to just keep the R-rated shenanigans confined to a specific section of the MCU.
Yeah.
Also, they've rewritten the multiverse saga to get rid of Kang for reasons.
Yeah. Also,
I mean, that lawsuit did get dropped, by the way.
shocker.
Mhm.
But
Not enough to save the Jonathan Majors' career.
probably not now, as it probably shouldn't. But we mentioned earlier the the MCU Blade reference in this movie, or little sidelong glance in this movie.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean,
Snipes.
again,
Snipes.
the fourth wall breaks in the entire trilogy, but in this movie as well, just are very clever, very cleverly done.
Yeah.
No, Deadpool and Wolverine was a very, very fun movie.
Absolutely.
But we should move on to the next thing on our list, which is the sports thing, because it is the Formula 1 2024 season.
Holy shit, this was the best season I've ever fucking watched. Okay, so, context. There are 10 teams. They're all competing for what is a normal type of sports championship, the World Constructors Championship, which is a team-based challenge.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the World Drivers Championship, because there are 20 drivers that are all competing to be the best.
Yeah.
Last year, one of the teams, Red Bull Racing, led by Christian Horner, married to one of the Spice Girls, by the way.
Okay.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
He runs Red Bull Racing, powered by Honda, soon to be powered by Ford. They won the World Constructors Championship by a healthy margin, and Max Verstappen, their number one driver, won the championship. Well, there were 23 or 22 races. He won all but maybe 3 races.
Yeah. Verstappen absolutely dominated the 2023 season.
And I'm not saying Verstappen isn't a good driver. He's a great driver. The cars also was really good last year.
Yeah.
Their lead designer, Adrian Newey, is arguably the best race car engineer in the world, bar none, and possibly of all time.
Yeah.
And then we get to 2020. Holy shit. So, prior to 2024 season starting, Sir Lewis Hamilton, who has raced with Mercedes for about 8 years at this point, won a number of their world championships from them during their era of dominance.
Yeah.
Announces he's moving to Ferrari prior to the season. Red Bull Racing gets hit with a scandal as Christian Horner is accused of being a sex pest. Adrian Newey decides to leave Red Bull Racing and become a free agent. We'll talk about where he ends up going in a moment. What else? What's the other big ones? Audi is forced to come in and like take over they're one of the Formula One teams earlier than expected. There is a bid to become for an 11th team to join the grid.
Mm.
So much is happening. And in the midst of all of this, we have a start to the season that looks very much like 2023, where Max wins the first 2 or 3 races.
So he
wins the first
1,
2.
2, 3,
Sainz
4,
wins the
5.
third.
He wins 5 of the first 7.
Yes. I think Sainz wins 1 immediately after getting a pendant. That's right.
So
Carlos Sainz, the number 2.
Verstappen had to retire in Australia and then came second in Miami.
Yes. So Carlos Sainz, who is the number 2 Ferrari driver, and is getting pushed out because Lewis Hamilton is coming to the team next year. He had appendicitis during the second race at Saudi Arabia. Comes back for the third race and wins. That's kind of the nuts of this. Like, and then, okay. Also, last year we had, I think, 3 overall winners: Perez, Verstappen, and Sainz.
Yeah.
By the end of this season, we have had 7 different drivers win a race. And impressively enough, Max does win the World Drivers' Championship pretty handily. It doesn't look like that the whole way through. 1. And Red Bull Racing does not win the World Constructors. They come in 3rd. Because McLaren has the fastest car in the grid, and their 2 drivers are both excellent. Like, Lando Norris finally breaks his curse of never winning. Kills it. Oscar Piastri is a demon in human form as he goes through his sophomore season. Ferraris finally figure things out. Charles Leclerc pulls off miracle after miracle, particularly at his home race of Monaco and the home Ferrari race of Monza. And like, if you ever want to know why people love sports, listen to the Sky broadcaster, as Charles comes down the final straight of both Monaco and Monza, and then also Lewis Hamilton wins his last home Grand Prix at Silverstone in like really the most like heartwarming fashion. The ends of those races are truly like emotionally powerful, even if they're not the most exciting.
I mean, what I do quite love about Formula One is that because there are, 20-odd cars in there, even if, the battle for first isn't that exciting, there'll be battles later down the grid that are, absolutely fucking popping off. People overtaking each other and shit like that.
Yeah, and then you have people like you have real characters like Fernando Alonso, who is the oldest driver to ever exist on the grid. He just did his 400th race.
Yeah.
In his mid 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You have Valtteri Bottas and his fucking whole thing, who just got announced to be the reserve driver for Mercedes, by the way, Bill.
Oh, God.
Jack, just so you're aware, Valtteri is famous for having a mullet, being an honorary Australian, doing essentially his main job now is just side quests of like mud runners, bicycle races, owning a beer company, owning like a brewing company, and doing naked calendars.
That's funny.
He's great. And
I mean, the impression I got from Verstappen this season was that, obviously he wants to win, but at the same time he also kind of doesn't give a shit about sort of, all these fucking restrictive rules on him.
Well, it's also like he realizes he's kind of the villain.
Oh, is he playing into being a heel?
The thing is, like, his driving is also that of a heel.
So from again, I'm not a consistent Formula One watcher, but he's very much a risk taker, all or nothing. And in Formula One, if you get the nothing, sometimes you won't just take yourself out; you'll take other people out with you.
Like, very famously, I forget which one it was. It might have been Emilia Romagna, where he and Lando are fighting, and like Max decides, fuck it, we ball, and like really lays into Lando, essentially puncturing one of Lando's tires, damaging his own car. Lando has to retire, and Max limps. Like, that's the kind of driver Max is. He goes arms out. It's very aggressive, very like you have to fight me.
Yeah.
I will not.
Which is, when you compare it to Hamilton, who, had basically been in the number one spot for the previous like fucking 5 or 6 years.
I mean,
Hamilton was a very relaxed first. Let's be honest.
Hamilton has been the best driver was the best driver of the 2010.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Like, he was knighted for how good of a race car driver he is.
Damn.
Like, he is Sir Lewis. Like, when I say Sir Lewis, that is an actual thing. He is knighted.
So Hamilton has won a joint record 7 drivers' championships, tied with Michael Schumacher, who is considered one of the best of all time.
Like, it's him, Senna, Hamilton.
Yeah. Record for most wins, pole positions, and podium finishes. So
he also got first the most times in a single track.
Yeah.
Silverstone. To give you also a sense of like how powerful Hamilton is, he's getting paid $44 million next year to go to Ferrari. And Ferrari's paying overall $100 million for like all the other bullshit.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
Around Hamilton.
But yeah, Hamilton won the Drivers' Championship 2014, 15, 17, 18, 19, and 20. He almost won his first year on the grid. Yeah. 2016, I believe Rosberg won it, who he had a ridiculous rivalry with. Even though they were on the same fucking team.
They called them Brosades, and it is considered one of the most beautiful sports romance / homoerotic subtext teammate interactions of all time, brothers to lovers to enemies. To the point where a wink from Hamilton to Nico Rosberg got everyone talking. It's great. But this season has been arguably one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
Just because of like the number of winners, how close it was at the top, between the top 4 teams. There was a real fight in the mid-pack between Haas, Alpine, Visa Cash App, RB, which is one team. And then Williams was just existing. You have the mid-season swap. It's a good season. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough about that. But so good.
All right, let's move on to Godkiller by Hannah Kana.
Another one of these like dark fantasy style, not like style novels, Um, set in a world where gods are real, in a more like shamanistic Witcher style world. The epidemic Godkiller is like essentially Witcher, is a Witcher, except with gods, spirits.
Does he accept coins?
Kind of, yeah, she has to. Just no one likes her, and she's a right bastard.
Understandable.
And like the plot follows, the Godkiller, a young the young heir to a noble family, whose mom is killed in a house fire, and whose spirit is attached to a small god, a god of white light. And to round out their party is the former main bodyguard, chief knight, best friend of the current king, who helped lead the rebellion against the gods and helped kill so many. And that kind of is the party, as they kind of make their way to the old city of the gods to try for their own various reasons. The knight is going there to figure out a solution to his king's problem of dying due to a god replacing the king's heart with their own. The girl is going to try to figure out a way to separate herself from the god of white lies, and the Godkiller is going because she was paid to by the little girl.
Not gonna lie, that sounds pretty fucking metal.
Yeah.
It's great. And the Godkiller and the Chief Knight have a little bit of a romance, or a team. And the Knight and the King have this weird dynamic of both brotherly, but also kind of they sound like really embittered exes. It's very good, really well written. Very
is it standalone
saga-esque.
or part of a series?
Part of a trilogy. First
Okay.
series in a trilogy. I've only read the first. But yeah, no, it's good. I don't think it's as good. I don't like it as much as the Burning Kingdoms, but it's. I do struggle with that more kind of darker fantasy style stuff.
Yeah.
I do prefer my fantasy a bit on the higher side, but we'll get to one of those later. We're going to be going down for this next one.
Yeah, let's move on to our next TV show, which, well, it's more of a web show, which is Hazbin Hotel.
In fairness, this one is on a streaming service, so it is kind of a gray area.
It's been the other one on this list that's from this creator isn't, so that's more true.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked Deadpool and Wolverine about Like a Prayer being stuck in my head. Oh boy, so many songs from this are fucking stuck in my head.
There are so many good songs from this show. I mean, I have a few favorites, but all of them are good.
I mean, do you want to say what your favorite is?
Honestly, I kind of bounce between Stayed Gone and the big duet between Lucifer and Charlie.
More than anything.
More than anything. So good. But I will say, whatchamacallit? Fuck. What was...
Mine is You Didn't Know.
You Didn't Know is very good.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably fourth. Third place, I think, is your favorite. Whatchamacallit? Loser Baby. That's it.
You're a loser, baby. No, sorry.
Keith David has such a fucking good voice.
Keith David kills it. Alex Brightman kills it. Jeremy Jordan kills it.
The whole cast is fucking excellent.
Yes. Whoever they got to play Camilla, oh my god.
I guess.
I've got a real soft spot for Respectless.
Respectless is good. Honestly.
I don't like Velvet, but I do like the animation during Respectless.
Oh, you don't have to like the characters. I just think the song is good.
I don't like the kind of how to describe it, the bratty teenager vibe that they have. Like that style of person, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't help that she's kind of the least explored of the V's so far.
Which I think will change, but
They
they
do a great job of making Valentino utterly loathsome.
Yes. Like kind of as a overall plot, you start with Charlie Morningstar, daughter of that Morningstar, Lucifer, and Lilith, who is trying to reform sinners in hell because there's an overpopulation problem, and heaven's response to the overpopulation problem is killing the bad people.
Yeah. Basically doing regular purges.
Which we find out later is being led by Adam, yes.
The biblical Adam. Who is a douche. Very much a frat douche.
Just the worst douche in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good, there's all these, thoughts about, what are the character motivations, specifically Alistair, Zestial, the V's, Lilith, what the fuck is Lilith up to?
Yeah, the show plants a lot of seeds for mysteries. I think it's pretty good on that front.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of I have a soft spot for this series. Also the fight at the very end between Lucifer and Adam.
It's really good.
Serpentious, my baby boy.
Serpentious the goat. Finding redemption.
Yeah, the first redeemed sinner.
Baby boy.
Yep. Yeah, what you call it? There's also, I do like the whole, tussle between, Adam and, Alistair as well, because hearing him just, drop the F-bomb like that was very funny.
I also love the way they kind of, I love Alistair because of the way they kind of designed him, because they give him that reverb.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they really cooked with Alistair.
I also really like Stayed Gone was.
Stayed Gone slaps, yeah.
I love Rosie, even if she ends up being a bad person, which obviously, but I love her aesthetic of horrifying transatlantic on.
Yes.
100% here for whatever that is, you know?
Yeah, no, the aesthetics is great. Also, the voice acting across the board is excellent.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly.
Famous YouTube reaction person, Danny Mata, has developed a beef with Alex Brightman because of this show.
Oh, why is that?
Because he kept hearing, he was like, everyone's Alex Brightman, why is this Alex Brightman? It was a bit that got out of hand.
Oh, that's funny.
Because he was like, is Vox being voiced by Alex Brightman?
I don't...
No, it's not, but it's one of those,
He's in, Helluva Boss, I just don't remember who he plays.
Fizarolli.
Oh, Fizz, okay.
I think that clip of him first hearing Fizarolli was where I first heard of this beef.
Yes. I found you, bastard! By the way, Jack, you just watched The Owl House. You should just watch him watch Animal House.
I might. You'll have to like send me a clip or something.
Yeah. He goes full in on Hootie.
Of course he does.
Oh, that's great.
But no, Hazbin Hotel's great. I'm actually really excited for season 2.
Oh, same.
I really vibed with You Didn't Know that the moment when Emily finds out
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
right until Adam drops the bomb, like the reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Like, that is my favorite part of that song because of
Oh, yeah.
the way it feels and the way it sounds, and like as someone who grew up in a like fire and brimstone Christian house, to like feel that validation from this show is very good.
I mean that moment where like the reflection of the fires of hell in Sarah's eyes, like Jesus.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fucking great.
Well, that's a fantastic shot.
Yeah, whoever came up with that, like storyboarded that, deserves a raise. It might have been Vivsy.
Honestly, like, there's a lot of really good creative stuff here.
Also, a lot of just like really clever sight gag stuff too. The eggs are great. Love
the eggs are great. Yeah.
The egg boys, yes. Yeah.
I mean, the one criticism that I've heard most is that it probably needed like 2 more episodes.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
I would have liked to get more of Zestial. And like more of Camille. Like more of Zestial and Camille.
Yeah.
I also really disliked the Vaggie. Not only the Vaggie Charlie that came about after the end of You Didn't Know, but also Vaggie not realizing that angelic weapons can hurt angels. Like, that just felt silly.
I mean, they could have literally just added a line or two of her just like worrying what it would do if the sinners figured it out.
Right, like not Charlie, but others.
Yeah. I do like the little reconciliation song they have though, and their whole dynamic is really great throughout the show. Also, I really like Angel Dust's arc. It's really good.
Oh, Angel Dust and what's her name? The crazy little gremlin.
Yeah,
Nifty.
her. She's
Nifty.
great.
Nifty. Oh, love Nifty.
Yeah. I do like Angel Dust finally standing up to Valentino and telling him to go fuck himself. That was great.
We will get to other characters telling other people to go fuck themselves.
Oh, I bet. I'm not caught up on Helluva Boss, but I know there's been some shit happening in the past few episodes.
Well, speaking of, the next show on our list is
House
Helluva
of the
Boss.
Dragon. No, it's House of the Dragon.
No, House of the Dragon comes after Helluva Boss in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Just, it's on the list funky.
Oh. No. Making me look stupid. I'm kidding. God, no. Helluva Boss is also real good. Like, Vivsy cook. You know?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, I don't know. This is Helluva Boss season 2 specifically, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we've already had kind of like the big Blitzo fucks up kind of style arc, and now we're getting Blitzo having to like, oh, I need to fix shit, culminating in like apology tour, and the Millie Blitzo flashback / travel episode, which were both excellent. Like Stolas is also like the goodest boy. He's like the character who's really interesting. I have no notes. I love the kind of cosmology that Vivzy sets up with Helluva Boss. Like specifically with like a character like Stolas, who is one of the Goetia, Dat Paimon, and Dralphus. The 7 deadly sins, like Oz.
Oh yeah, how do they work around Lucifer not being available because of copyright bullshit?
They have an empty throne in the final episode of the season, or whatever the most recent one was. An empty throne with cobwebs, a note saying "Be right back," and a duck.
Perfect. That's excellent. Great.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's exactly what you would want. Satan is very hot, as Kesha told us he would be. Which also, how the fuck did Vivzy get Kesha? Twice.
I mean, in fairness, I think Kesha being on the show is part of the reason that first episode with her got delayed so long.
Yeah, no, but it's so good.
Yeah, the song that they give her character in that episode is really good too. But I think that came out like late last year, early this year. I don't remember.
What?
The one with that introduces Beelzebub.
Yeah, no. What's it called?
I don't remember the episode, but the song is Cotton Candy.
Yes. But like they really do a good job with like the sins and their relationships with one another. I love the designs for both Envy and Sloth. We also haven't met until just now. The Spanish Goetia. Viago, not Viago. That's the. Is it Viago?
Don't know. I would have to look that up.
He's a macaw. Visago. It's a Visago.
They are all named after, the various goetic demons from the Ars Goetia, so doesn't surprise me.
Yes, Visago is a macaw who speaks Spanish, who loves it when Stolas sings. Great.
Oh, he's voiced by Harvey Guillen.
Yeah, no. There's a fan animation of of Helluva Boss that depicts Androlphus, Stolas, and Stella as children. Stella and Androlphus like looking like holy shit, what the fuck, like very mean. And so it's like, what is happening? Very frightened, but also very intrigued. And then you just have Visago holding a cup with his feet and then screaming into it. And it's just like, oh, mwah. No notes. But no, I love Blitzo. Great character arc. Luna finally calling Blitz her dad.
Aww.
And that breaking Stolas' heart. For reasons.
Lots of reasons, I imagine.
Honestly, even God, fuck, what's his name? The Billy's husband.
Moxie,
yes. Moxie and Luna's relationship, also great development there. Moxie in general is just a fun character to watch every time.
I do remember his focus episode involving his shitty dad.
But like he also during the Billy flashback episode, one of the things that happens is like it because Litz goes on like a depressive spiral. He spends all their money, and it falls to Moxie to figure out the taxes. And the end of the episode ends with him thinking he's figured out the math, like he's solved it. And then Luna very kindly says, "Forgot, you missed something." He breaks down, starts trying to light things on fire at himself by pouring gasoline and lighting a match. Luna then grabs him, bundles him up in a blanket, throws him on the couch, puts on his lap a bowl of ice cream, and turns on Ghost Fuckers the musical.
Ghost Fuckers sounds like a perfect show.
But it was like it is the kind of thing where like that wouldn't have happened earlier in the season, but they've learned to respect each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, great time. No, like Helluva Boss has had a really good run. Really excited for whatever comes next.
All right, let's move on then to House of the Dragon Season 2.
Oh, House of the Dragon.
So, Season 2 has the relatively unique distinction of having an erect penis on screen.
Oh boy.
Yep. Gul Amon showing it to the world.
Mid-fellatio, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that was a different person during the brothel scene, but yeah. Yeah. But no, they also Amon is also gives a full frontal. So that's fun. Also, this is like the pinnacle of this all could have been avoided if these two gays had been allowed to just bone. But alas, society.
Alas,
but yeah,
Westeros.
Yep. Yeah, this season is a bit of a weird one because simultaneously a lot happens and not much happens. It's very much like an interim season.
Yeah.
Apparently they planned for 10 episodes and they would have ended at a point that I think would have worked a lot better as a season finale than what we got. Namely, the Battle of the Gullet.
Yeah.
Which I believe you're familiar with, Mill. I don't know if Ken is.
Maybe. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've read World of Ice and Fire.
Oh, it's from more. It goes more into detail in Fire and Blood. It's where all of Rhaenyra's new dragon riders are deployed for the first time.
Yes. Okay. I vaguely I remember it.
Yeah, but that would have worked better as a season finale, and it looks like they were building up to that, but then they just cut it off before that happened. So,
is HBO finally getting tired of Game of Thrones?
No, it's Zaslav being a fucking shit stain with his finances. AK being a dumbass and a cheapskate, all rolled into one.
And yet he gave millions to AEW. That's mean. That was mean of me.
And Sesame Street.
But yeah, as a result, the season is paced weirdly. There is some good material in this, and there is a lot of really good acting on display from basically everyone in the main cast. But there is an issue of basically most of the season tries to kind of whitewash Rhaenyra a little bit, when part of the appeal of that storyline in the Fire and Blood is that it was a very gray conflict. Like, the Greens were, for the most part, the side in the wrong, broadly speaking, but that didn't mean the Blacks didn't do some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
But this season seems like it's trying to absolve Rhaenyra of, like, the responsibility of a lot of that, and not until like I think the penultimate episode of the season that she actually does something really fucked up. Which, in fairness, is a really good demonstration of, hey, this person can do some fucked up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, the whole thing with the dragon seeds and trying to tame the dragons. Which, you know, goes horribly wrong. And results in a lot of people dying.
Did they not watch the fucking movies?
Nope.
No, they don't have movie theaters in Westeros, unfortunately. Those are all in Essos. None of them want to take the boat trip over.
How's Matt Smith doing?
He's doing pretty good. He had a weird-ass vision quest during the season in which he was spent most of it tripping balls at Harrenhal, but he still gave a really good performance because he's Matt fucking Smith.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to get most of his best material in the next season, especially if they end the season with the battle over God's Eye, like I hope they will.
Wow, well, it'll depend on Zaslav.
I'm pretty sure Zaslav got ousted earlier this year.
Did he?
I could be wrong.
He's still
Could be. Oh no, he's still in there. Fuck. But yeah, they have said they are planning the show for 4 seasons, which means Battle Over God's Eye would be either end of season 3 or early season 4, depending on how they pace it out. I also want to see the fish feed. goddammit. But yeah, there's a lot of battles that are going to be happening next season, so they better have the fucking budget for it, you know? Because there was only one battle this season, and it looked like a lot of the budget went into that. That'd be Rook's Rest.
Yeah.
Which was very well done, not gonna lie. And the show almost made me feel bad for Aegon. Almost.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no, he's still an asshole, but almost made me feel bad for him. It is an accomplishment, yes. Yeah, no, this overall a bit of a fairly good season, but I think it does suffer a lot from pacing issues and a few characterization issues.
I just realized. Did none of us watch Fallout this year?
I didn't.
No.
Oh.
I didn't get around to it.
I've only heard good things, but it's just one of those. It's like something that just
There's only so much time, and
Yeah.
plus I spent a lot of time reading a certain thick tome that we'll be getting to later.
Fairness, it came out in April, dude.
Yeah,
You can't blame Wind and Truth on you not watching Fallout.
No, but I can blame the large amount of life events that I had going on throughout the year.
That's fair, but
No, the Wind and Truth just prevented me from catching up on anything I had procrastinated on. Because it came out so late in the year, Sanderson, damn you.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things on my plate that just never let up.
I kept meaning to watch it, but it's unfortunately on Amazon Prime, and I'm, still annoyed over their fucking ad policies.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wouldn't say Amazon Prime is the worst streaming service, but it is run by the worst company that has a streaming service. Morally speaking, at least.
I honestly feel like Paramount Plus is my least favorite of those.
Oh, in terms of actual streaming service quality, yeah, no. Paramount Plus is kind of garbage.
You guys don't have fucking Channel 4.
No, we don't, and I'm grateful every day for it.
That's what I have to watch
sorry,
Taskmaster. That's what I have to watch Taskmaster on again.
Jesus.
I'm so sorry.
Is it better or worse than High Dive?
Worse. I can at least not have to watch ads on High Dive.
Ooh, ouch. Yeah, fuck advertisements. Miss me with that shit.
Anyway, yeah,
Anyways.
I just remembered Fallout. I just wanted to give it a shout out because, like, I've watched scenes here and there. I've not watched the show as a whole. It looked good.
Honestly, there's a lot
Good
more
for
good.
those.
There's a lot more good stuff that came out this year that we wanted to get to this year that just did not manifest on the stream. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
I mean, as always, shout out to Walton Goggins for being a fucking great actor.
Oh,
Walton
yeah.
Goggins is fantastic.
And whoever they got to play the main Vault Dweller also. Fantastic.
Ella Purnell.
Yeah, she's great.
Oh yeah, she was in Arcane too.
Yes.
Ella Purnell is fucking great. Just shout out to her.
So she's Jinx in Arcane.
Yes. Yeah, no, her performance as Jinx was great. Also, I kind of just want to give a shout out to all the main cast in Arcane, who all did great. But special shout out to who's the actor who played Echo, because he did real fucking great as well. And of course, Haley Steinfeld as Vi was also fantastic.
Echo...
All cast was good, as I said. Reed Shannon.
Reed Shannon, yeah.
Harry Lloyd was Victor. Okay. I don't think it's that Harry Lloyd. It's a different Harry Lloyd.
But speaking of, going back to, Game of Thrones land, the composer for Fallout was Ramin Djawadi.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. Ramin Djawadi is a fantastic composer.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like, top 10 modern composers easily. I am limiting to modern because there's a lot of old composers that would fight to get into that top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ramin Djawadi would be up there. John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Hiroyuki Sawano. Yeah, I'm not gonna list them all. There's a lot of really good composers out there, but Ramin Djawadi is fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But we should probably move on to something that all of us can discuss at length.
Let's move on to The Night by Will Wight, Book 3 of The Last Horizon.
Hell yeah.
So
This was actually like between this engineer and the captain. I think this was like my least favorite of the three, but
I was honestly expecting this to be the focus on Ryan to happen a lot later in the series, because I was expecting escalation to eldritch horrors from beyond space and time to be an end game thing. But like Will is leaning more in towards like a conspiratorial bullshit leading to greater power for the more secretive agents in the setting, which is honestly a pretty novel way to approach it.
Mm-hmm. There was definitely, I feel, a lack of focus on the Denis, considering it was meant to be, the enemy of this particular book.
In fairness, like, they don't really lend themselves much to strong characterization.
I know, but there's an element of maybe being, a little bit written into a corner with the Denis of they are such, such an issue, potentially world-ending issue, which means that there can't be any sort of smaller scale conflicts with them.
It's all or nothing with those guys.
And obviously, I can't remember what the name of the queen is, but she obviously doesn't appear until the very end of the book, whereas we get, interludes with the Iron King and Starhammer in the captain and the engineer.
Get a real sense of like interiority with those characters, which we don't get with the Denis.
Ryan's stuff in general though was very good, though it lacked a little bit of focus again.
Yeah. I do wish there was more focus on him. At the same time, like, he had a lot. There were some satisfying moments with him as well.
No, absolutely.
I think the whole Ryan having to come to like having to be the Red Ranger again was very good. Like meeting the essentially Zordon of his little team was very good. Blue actually doing a thing, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Blue still knew Lyndon was great. Not Lyndon. You know who I meant.
Varric.
The bloopers were also great.
Yes.
As always. I love that Will includes the little bloopers at the end of the books.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Space bloopers.
Yes, of course.
Overall, still a good book, and like bad by Will Wight standards is, or not bad, but like not great by Will Wight standards is still really good.
It's not even that it's not great; it's just weaker than some of the books that Will has put out, recently. And there's an element of having to compare it to the last two or so books of Cradle isn't especially fair on it, considering how much is set up in there. I mean, weaker than the captain and the engineer, yes. But in the sense of this is just setting up for books later down the line, which is just fair enough. You've got to do it. And it's gonna...
Just wish there was less focus on that and more focus on like the central plot of the book itself.
Yeah, I mean, by focusing on Solstice and the Perfected, it's going to make the conflicts against them really, hit home. But yeah, it is just a shame that it didn't mean that this one had to suffer.
Yeah. That's not to say that there isn't good stuff in the book. We've already talked about some of it, but like you also get some funny bits like Sola and Omega bickering over the Zenith cannon, for example.
The return of Lemon.
Yes. The Zenith devices in general are very funny to watch squabbling. Like, siblings, basically.
Yeah. And just how unimpressed Sharex is with all of it.
Yep. Also, like, Varric just absolutely curb-stomping his way through that whole arena was great.
No, it's always good to get.
There are some people you cannot afford to offend is such a great line.
Yeah, no, it's always good getting to see Varric, let loose, basically.
Yeah. No, letting him actually be the monster that he is, and when I say monster, I mean the skilled sorcerer. Because that is the thing that even with Lyndon back in Cradle, it was hard for Will to actually write Lyndon as a god when he was. And I think Varric is much better written.
I mean, it's sort of coming at it from two different ends of the spectrum of Varric from essentially, minute one in the series has been effectively the most powerful, single combatant in the series, barring, obviously the the extraordinary ones. Whereas Lyndon obviously had to claw his way up to that sort of status.
Yeah.
So it's where Lyndon's problems were both physical and mental in terms of, letting loose. Varric's are just mental. He's it's him getting past, 6 lives of failure, or 5 lives of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's something that's being worked on, and you can see being worked on throughout the series. And, it helps that, somebody like Sharix is there to tell him when he's, being a dum-dum in that respect.
Yup.
But, I really liked The Last Horizon. I'm actually currently listening to the Knight's audiobook. I think
Travis Baldree continues to be excellent.
Yeah, no, Travis Baldree is great. Is a great narrator. I still need to read his books.
Oh, they are really... I should have put them on the list.
I like them a lot. I like them.
Actually, we could discuss them right now, honestly. If you want.
Let's maybe hold off. We have a lot to talk about still.
Yeah, well, let's put a pin in that, and if we have time at the end, we'll discuss them there. But yes, Knight's pretty good. Not quite as strong as the first 2 Last Horizon books, but it's still a well-written book by Will Wight, which tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and it does lack this kind of emphasis on tragedy that did make it really hard to read with Ditry. Which Will Wight has always been a lighter read than say a Sanderson tome.
Oh yeah,
worse. And so
we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
We'll get into.
But yeah, moving on then to The Legend of Vox Machina Season 3.
Oh, this is so good. I know we're getting another season of this, so which I am glad for. But this had a lot of good emotional highs and lows in it. It dealt with the latter half of the Chroma Conclave arc from the original show. They did tweak things here and there. For one thing, Percy dies for the final confrontation and stays dead until afterwards. Which was not something I expected and was also devastating.
Yeah, no, that was a change from the original thing.
I know. I get the sense that they want to make death a lot more impactful and less frivolous than D&D mechanics would normally make it.
Right, and so that's also not to say that the death in Vox Machina were frivolous, but they were this was actually a good choice.
Yeah, no. Honestly, on a narrative front, I think this works better for the new format because the way D&D normally goes, you can undo death a lot more easily than would be appropriate in most other storytelling forms. So I'm glad I do appreciate why they went that route here. I am kind of annoyed that they didn't just have the whole Ripley confrontation end with the whole team butchering her like they did in the web show.
Oh yeah, no. Bill, have you watched Vox Machina?
I have not.
Okay, it's good, but also, yeah, in the show they actually do kind of just go ham on her. It's very funny.
Yeah, no, they just go absolutely fucking wild. Just the whole team wrecks her shit. Whereas in the show, she escapes the confrontation, which she kills Percy, and then Vex and Vax hunt her down and kill her on their own. Which I do appreciate Vex being the one to get the killing blow. That works, but still. Yeah, it doesn't quite hit the same. Now, that's not to say that like the show isn't good. There's a lot of good stuff in it, and they handle a lot of the content really well. They also changed the context for Scanlan's story arc, which I do think makes sense with how the show has been handling things to begin with, because they have a lot more. They have Ashley, as Pike present for much more of the storyline than she is in the stream. So that does influence things as well. Yeah, overall, really good stuff. Really good way. They wrapped up the Chroma Conclave arc really well, and they set things up for the fourth season, which might be the last. I don't know. They have also announced the Mighty Nine are getting a series as well, so that's going to be fun. Glad to see the Critical Role crew just having a very successful time.
Yeah, they're having fun with it, and I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, should probably move on.
Alright, let's move on then to The Lincoln Lawyer. So this one is this is a solo me show.
Yes, I've watched a few clips here and there, and like I've seen some episodes, but like, yeah, no, take it away.
So I first saw this. I'm imagining the same way you've been seeing clips of it on social media, on like well, I've been seeing them on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. It looked really interesting, but what really sort of got me in was the performance by Manuel Garcia Rulfo as the protagonist, Mickey Holler. I just decided, fuck it, it's on Netflix, I'm gonna start watching it. And it's a really interesting series. There's 3 seasons of it so far, and there's very strong indications that there's going to be a 4th. And it's based on a book series by an author called Michael Connolly. And it's basically about a defense lawyer named Mickey Holler, defending clients. But his sort of quirk is that he does a lot of his work in the back of a Lincoln car, which gets him the name The Lincoln Lawyer. The first season the story is very much about Mickey coming back to being a lawyer after taking, I think it was something like a year off because of painkiller addiction after he got into a surfing accident, and wondering whether he could actually do it. He defended the CEO of a game development company from the murder of his wife and her lover. As it turns out, even though Mickey got a not guilty verdict, the guy actually did it.
In fairness, it's not a defense attorney's job to actually, make sure that the person is punished. It's the defense attorney's job to defend their client.
Yes. The second season is throughout the first season, there's a subplot with a former client of Mickey's called Jesus Menendez, who was arrested for the murder of I think it's something like 2 or 3 women, prostitutes, I believe. And Mickey was all set to defend him, and had a witness that was called another prostitute called Glory Days, who
great prostitute name, by the way.
Yeah, who would have exonerated this Menendez, and then she went missing. and Menendez got convicted. So a large part, or certainly as I said, a subplot throughout the first season is Mickey trying to track down Glory Days and convince her to basically testify again. Which she does so at the end of the first season, and Menendez gets released. At the start of the second season, the actual killer reveals himself to Mickey and actually tricks him into being his lawyer, basically. So even when he confesses to having, committed these murders, Mickey can't say anything because of attorney-client privilege. There is an element of the story actually gets dropped pretty quickly within sort of, I think, two or three episodes of the second season, which I'm not 100% sure why, because it then focuses on a restaurant owner being accused of murdering a CEO who's been I think it's like CEO of a building development company who wants the land her restaurant sits on. And again, the twist here is that while she didn't commit that murder, the reason she was so recalcitrant to selling her property and the land that her property sits on is that she actually murdered her husband and buried his corpse there.
Worse.
And she ends up getting done for that. Third season is Glory Days ends up being murdered herself, and the guy accused of murdering her goes to Mickey and asks him to be his lawyer because Glory Days basically said, hey, there's this dude, if you're ever in trouble, go to him. And it turns out there's this big fucking conspiracy with the DEA in particular, and a particular agent there. What's really interesting in the show is that obviously because we are following a defense lawyer, or because we're following a defense lawyer, it doesn't do the usual sort of thing that certainly police procedurals do of painting defense lawyers as the enemy and as the scum of the earth.
Worse.
But it also, with cases like certainly the one in the first season and the one in the second season, it also shows that yes, Mickey is, defending people that are guilty, and is,
Right.
managing to get them not guilty verdicts. And, will sometimes get his clients a non-guilty in less than...
He does try to screw them over on the way out.
He tries to screw them over on the way... He will try and screw them over on the way out, but the way he gets non-guilties sometimes, especially in the smaller cases, it tends to be... it can be, less than ethically sound or morally sound. So there's a repeat client that his practice has, who's a fraudster called Sam Scales. And in particular, in the third season, so there's a character called Lorna who is Mickey's second ex-wife, but is also sort of his assistant. And in the third season, she passes the bar exam and becomes a partner in his firm, in his practice. And one of her first cases is to defend Sam Scales from the thing that he 100% did. And the way she gets out of it is the elevators, or most of the elevators in the courthouse, aren't working. Sam Scales is in a wheelchair. She breaks the one, or causes the one remaining elevator in the courthouse to be unavailable for the rest of the day, and basically argues, hey, it's his constitutional right to have his day in court within this certain period of time. If he doesn't get seen today, he can't get that constitutional right, but he obviously can't come up to this courtroom because of the elevators not working, and it gets him off on a technicality sort of thing that she caused. There is also focus on prosecutors. In the first 2 seasons, it's Mickey's first ex-wife, and the 3rd season, it's the prosecutor he was against in the 2nd season, who he is now semi-dating. It's a whole thing.
Nice.
What I like about it is it does show this. It does have this sort of more balanced view of the justice system than I think a lot of series actually do. There's also relatively casual queerness. Mickey's driver and eventually assistant in the office, Izzy, is fairly casually queer. The client in the 3rd season, Julian Lacoste, is gay and in a relationship with a man. Like I said, it's an interesting show, and I think it's really well done. And the acting I really like. I don't think there's necessarily anybody that you'd recognize in the cast other than Elliot Gould, who is basically Mickey's mentor. But yeah, no, I've enjoyed the first 3 seasons of Lincoln Lawyer. Definitely gonna watch it if it gets a 4th, which I do hope it does. I might even pick up the books at some point. As far as I know, they have departed from the books in some relatively significant ways, but not in a ridiculous sense. Anyway, we should probably move on to our next TV show, which is My Adventures with Superman Season 2.
Oh, so good.
Yes. Go on.
Did you watch it as well?
Here and there. 2 episodes.
Okay. So season 2 introduces Supergirl, who is very fun as a character, and also a lot more complicated than most versions of Supergirl, with some very interesting backstory involving Brainiac, who is voiced brilliantly by Michael fucking Emerson.
Yeah, no, that, yeah.
Yeah. Perfect casting choice for Brainiac, not gonna lie. But yeah, Brainiac winds up being the big bad of the season, though Waller and her task force also wind up being the secondary antagonistic force of the season, with the help of a certain Alexander Luthor, who is, this version isn't bald yet. He's still a scrawny twink with red hair.
I mean, that's kind of my favorite versions of Lex when they, catch him before the Nightmare Human comes.
Yeah. Oh, he's still 100% leaning into the whole the xenophobic rhetoric that defines a lot of versions of Lex Luthor, because of course. But yeah, very good villain squad, but they handle Superman and his supporting cast very well as well.
This is to Superman where Wayne Family Adventures is.
Yes, actually. This version of Lois and Jimmy are really great, and this version of Superman is just the most wonderful cinnamon roll of a person. he's just like so sweet-hearted and kind and pure.
I love Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's great. This version is basically like a conspiracy / cryptid enthusiast who is which they play very well into the show. They also have some really good supporting characters, including Livewire is pretty fun in this. And this version of Perry is also pretty fun. They have him as like this no-nonsense authority type who's not as no-nonsense as he who is like still has that heart of gold that you expect from Perry White.
Isn't there also like another version of like another character at the planet who is like the Flash Thompson or like Mr. Satan?
Oh yeah, fuck, I forget his name. He's very funny though. I think I watched this in like fucking April or May or something, so a lot of the details have kind of gotten lost in the flow of time and all that.
Right.
But no, like this, the overall story of this season is really good. Like there's a lot of stuff involving Superman and his heritage and what Krypton is and was and why it was destroyed. They dig a lot more into that than they normally do, which is interesting. And yeah, no, it's really cool stuff, and I cannot recommend this show enough. It's very, very good.
Yeah, I've also heard very good things.
Highly recommend. If you like Superman, you will like this show. Like, I don't know if this is my absolute favorite version of Superman. That might still be either the DCAU version or Superman vs. the Elite. Or All-Star Superman, because those are all fucking fantastic.
I think mine's still Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come is peak Superman. I almost don't count it just because it is, like, one of the best comics ever.
Like stupid good, yeah.
Wonderful. My Adventures with Superman is on Channel 4 in the UK.
I am so sorry. That's most HBO Max shows. I'm sorry.
I mean, at least
yeah,
at least it's there. Still haven't got Suicide Squad Isekai as far as I know.
That's wild.
Which is really fucking annoying. But yeah, no, I've heard nothing but good things about this one, so you know, I might brave the All 4 website to watch it.
I hope you do, please. It's so good.
We'll see if we can find the time. But if there's not anything else...
Yeah, not anything else.
Alright, let's move on then to... Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
I'm so glad we have an actual good adaptation of Percy Jackson now.
Yeah. It's certainly very good.
Walker Scobell is like the perfect person they could have cast for Percy.
Yeah. No, that's definitely fair.
Like, I mean, I know this sounds redundant with what we've said before and a lot of stuff, but like, cast is excellent across the board.
It's a shame about Lance
Reddick.
Lance Reddick, because you know the main scene that he was in, Jesus Christ, the presence on that man.
Yeah, no, he was in this and Vox Machina, and I think those are his last performances that I know of.
Was supposed to be in Alan Wake 2, as Mr. Door.
Oh.
The guy who they got to play Warland Door in Alan Wake 2, fantastic, but
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He leaves big shoes to fill. But yeah, the show's still really good. I do like a lot of the additions they made to the books because the books are all Percy's viewpoint. So the additional stuff we get from other viewpoints is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, especially that one scene with Sally and Poseidon in the diner is really fucking good.
Oh no, that's really, really good.
It's like,
this is the guy they got to play Mr. Door after Lance Reddick passed away. Honestly,
nice.
Honestly, I could see it. I could see him being cast in a lot of Lance's roles.
Honestly, the only other actors I can see like playing Zeus that have
Keith
like
David.
I was gonna say either Keith David or maybe Lawrence Fishburne. If they want to.
I think Keith David is probably the better bet. But
Keith David's the better bet, but I do think I should put in a mention for Lawrence Fishburne because he is also
Lawrence is
excellent.
So they have actually announced who they've recast as Zeus. Courtney B. Vance.
Okay.
Oh, he's good. He's real good.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad about that.
Trying to remember what else he's been in.
So
he's a really good actor.
Johnny Cochran in The People vs. O.J. Simpson American Crime Story.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he was in Lovecraft Country as well.
He's been in Law and Order Criminal Intent, or he was in Law and Order Criminal Intent for 5 years.
He was in Hunt for Red October. God damn.
He has an amazing looking movies considering he's he was in the 2017 Mummy and Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
Though
Look,
he is apparently
he tried his best in Genesis. Okay,
yeah.
He had a bad script.
A lot of people had a lot of trouble with that one.
He's apparently playing Cobra Bubbles in the live action Lilo and Stitch.
Not surprising.
Not the worst actor they could get for that, honestly. He's a good actor, so like, I hope they put their all into actually making it good, rather than just what they often do with the live actions. But yeah, no, what I've seen him in is he's really good. Like, he pops up a lot in like across TV. But yeah, but back to Percy Jackson, just really fun show.
Yeah,
really happy with it.
I mean, I don't know, how much of an endorsement this might be, but I watched this for a second time with my mum, and she really enjoyed it. Every like couple of weeks when she comes over, she'll ask, "Oh, what's the latest on Percy Jackson?" and on One Piece. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure they basically just wrapped up filming on One Piece season 2.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
So we'll be getting more on that in the coming weeks.
It'll probably be sort of fall.
Probably mid-late 2025.
Yeah, I would say probably fall 2025. I guess probably maybe around October.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, no, this. I mean, obviously you had. You mentioned scenes that we obviously didn't get to see in the books because of the focus on them. You mentioned the Sally and Poseidon one. The one that I really liked was Ares and Grover in the diner.
Oh, that was a good scene. Also, the Edge was fucking fantastic in this.
Edge is a really good actor when he gets the chance. He does Crazy Eyes really well.
Really good in only murders in the building for that one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, most wrestlers who become like proper actors are good actors because they've had fucking years of experience. The Rock is generally the fucking exception to that because fucking
he's an outlier more than the rule. Yeah.
I mean, even The Rock is like. I mean, all wrestling is a performance, right?
Yeah.
The Rock is good at playing one character. It's just that character is The Rock.
Mm.
Yes. Also,
whereas
like,
you get guys like Batista or
John Cena
or Edge who are all just very good at acting.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I would want your opinion on this, but like my general sense is like wrestling is essentially a form of American.
American what?
Like it is essentially theater for Americans.
Yes, no, I would agree. It is, it's a combination of, live theater, improv, and, essentially gymnastics. And being able to marry the three of them together in a coherent way. And it obviously does give, it gives wrestlers who become actors a boost in that respect because they are able to. What I've read they have to get used to is having to do, multiple takes. Because they're obviously just used to getting things done the first time around and that being it.
Right. You have to try. They have to do it once.
Even if they get it perfect the first time round, they have to do it again and from a different angle, or give a different inflection. So yeah, but Edge was really good in this show. I really enjoyed him.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there was a single bad performance from any of the actors in the show.
No. And obviously, the main trio I think had really good chemistry with each other. And you can tell when they do, when you see them see just the actors, out doing interviews, it's clear they get along with each other really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, Jason Mantzoukas as Dionysus.
Perfect casting, honestly.
Yeah, it was really good.
Like, I'm trying to think who else was a really good casting. I'm trying to remember who they got for Hephaestus.
Oh yes, that was a scene that was added that wasn't in the books, but again, it was really good. Yeah. Timothy Omundson.
Oh yeah, Lassie. From Psych.
Right.
Oh, yes. I was like,
I was gonna say, I didn't think he was a dog.
No, from Psych.
Yeah.
And fantastic choice. Also, the guy who plays Hades is really good too.
Jay Duplass, yes, he was very good.
Yeah.
Toby Stevens as Poseidon, as we said, very good.
Excellent as well, yeah.
Fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hermes was great.
Yeah, it was a really good series. It's another one that I maybe wonder could have done with an episode or two more, but what we got was still, absolutely fine.
Yeah. Also, I do appreciate that they tweaked Gabe's stoning a little bit to make it less,
less murder.
less murdery, yes. It's just like, hey, this box isn't for me. I'm gonna fucking open it anyways.
I mean, to a certain extent, I still appreciate the books for going, hey, here's this abusive dickbag. Instead of sending Percy back to him, we're gonna kill him.
Yes.
Percy's gonna
I do
murder
appreciate.
him.
No, Percy didn't murder him. Sally murdered him.
Percy is gonna give his abused mum the opportunity to murder him. And to be fair, it would have felt less earned in the TV show because they very much toned down the abuse.
They toned it down, but in the way they made it feel more insidious.
Yeah.
Like, it was very... There wasn't any physical dimension to it. It was very clear emotional abuse, but, like, it wasn't, like, as obvious as it was in the books.
Yeah. But yeah, we should probably move on. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, very good. I think we're all looking forward to season 2.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, right. Please don't be silent after that. It makes it seem like you are.
Sorry, I was taking a drink. I didn't want to spit out my drink to agree with you.
There was just a moment there when nobody responded. I was like, we are excited for season 2, right?
Yeah,
why wouldn't
very
we
excited.
be? Why wouldn't we be?
I'm so fucking excited. This is gonna be real. Season 2 is gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Though I will say, Sea of Monsters is probably the weakest of the original Percy Jackson books. So
yeah.
I do wonder what they're going to do to spruce it up.
But yeah, let's move on to our next show, which is Shogun.
The show is so fucking good.
I feel like this is gonna be, if once I watch this, it's gonna be right up my alley. I just have to actually, sit down and actually watch it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're going to vibe so fucking hard with this, Mill.
I know,
like,
Mill, I'm shocked you haven't watched this yet.
I have a feeling
so
it's
good.
either gonna be I'm going to love it or I'm gonna nitpick it so much for the historical differences.
Honestly, so here's the thing. It's not a one-to-one of the tail end of the Sengoku period, just because it is also an adaptation of the novel.
Yeah.
Which, was also not a one-to-one. But they do a lot to bring it more in line with the historical record, as well as they do a lot to correct more historical inaccuracies, like with the names, for example. The names are much more, like, in line with what they would be in that period, rather than more modernized, like in Clavel's novel.
Right.
Also, like, the cast, I feel like a broken record saying this, but the cast is excellent across the board.
Hiroyuki Sanada apparently went fucking ham and put
Hiroyuki Sanada produced it and starred in it, and he is fantastic in it.
Yeah.
Like, his character in the show is like one of the premier magnificent bastards I've seen on television. Just absolute fantastic playing of just, absolute master of the craft of manipulation.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hiroyuki Sanada is excellent. Don't need to elaborate on that. The whole rest of the cast is really good, but I do need to give shout-outs to Cosmo Jarvis, who plays the protagonist of the series, is really good.
A.K.A. William Adams.
Yeah. Anna Sawai is also excellent in the show, as is Tokuma Nishioka. And Tadanobu Asano is also really good. Like, those are the performances that really stood out to me in particular, but the whole cast, again, is just excellent.
Yeah.
And it's a really good, interesting perspective on the whole end of the Sengoku period and the squabbling amongst the regents in the period before, right before Sekigahara, when all the conflict came to a boil and the decisive battle was waged to determine everything. Yeah, like, it's just a fascinating illustration of, what that period of Japanese history would have been like, and all the political and military gamesmanship that went into the jockeying for power that these that these nobles and these military men waged against each other.
Yeah.
And of course, how you play a fantastic game of speed chess.
Mm.
But yeah, fantastic fucking show. Try not to spoil too much beyond just saying, like, the characters are excellent, and there's a lot of really good dramatic writing in this. And Hiroyuki Sanada plays the best character in the show, and does so flawlessly.
Yeah.
Character of all time, not gonna lie. But yeah, probably a good idea to move on to something we can all discuss.
Alright, let's move on to Threshold, the short stories anthology that Will Wight released for, I believe it was the Animating Cradle Kickstarter.
Lisa, may I have some more? Seriously, this book is very fun. I want more, please.
I mean, yeah, it's if nothing else, it's a good wrap-up of certain stories.
There are still some threads left hanging here and there, but overall it does do a lot to, like, to wrap up some storylines. Like, showing how, Sorry. Showing how North Strider's heart went doki doki because of Durandal.
Yeah.
Or, all the shit that went on with the various shenanigans that Linton and Co. got up to as Reapers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my main takeaway from this is, like, I could honestly get a new short story collection for this series every single year, and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Honestly, the really interesting one, one of the more interesting ones, was the one with Raygon Shen.
Yeah.
That showed his history,
Yeah.
backstory.
You know, it did a lot to sort of not even necessarily show how, you know, Raygon Shen became what he was like in the series, but more sort of contextualized it, and, you know, showed just how toxic sort of the current cycle of the monarchs was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what a good job the gang did by, you know, breaking that cycle completely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Also, do gotta love the whole thing with whatchamacallit, what's the Blood Sage's, not Blood Sage, the Blood Artist's name, who was the focus of future stories?
Yan Shomei.
John Chomei.
John Chomei, yes, that series of stories is really good. I absolutely fucking love Lyndon just absolutely disintegrating that one dude, or rather smiting him from afar when he fucked around too much.
Yeah. I'm also glad fucking Zeal got his Pokemon adventure.
That was so funny. I was like, it took me a sec to realize what was going on. I was like, oh, this is Pokemon. This is fucking Pokemon.
Good for him.
Especially,
Yeah.
you know, especially after, you know, Will said, oh, the original plan for Zeal was to, you know, make him a Beastmaster.
Oh, yeah. That would have been, yeah. Yeah, no, overall, this is a really fun collection of short stories. I do wish we got more answers on a couple of characters who don't really get any answers in this or in the previous book, but overall, it still feels like a nice kind of coda to the Cradle series as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will say again though, if Will Wight decided to make another one of these, I will not complain, and I will make sure to get it.
I mean, I'm almost certain, or I'm fairly sure that this isn't going to be the last time we see Lyndon and the gang. Because I'm willing to bet that we'll eventually do a sort of
Like a multi-universe crossover
thing set, set within the Abaddon structure.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love a good old Crisis crossover.
I mean, if nothing else, we, know that The Last Horizon is set, within Fathom.
Oh, boy.
Which has either had or will have a really bad day.
A really bad time coming up soon, probably. The question is not if it will have a bad time, it is when it will have a bad time.
Yeah. It's not going to go well, and is likely why the Zenith devices have woken up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Threshold was a really nice time.
Yeah. Really great time to hang out with the gang.
Yeah. But we should move on to Transformers 1.
Again, have you watched this movie?
No, I know.
Again.
I
need you to look at me. I need you to look at
know.
me. You will absolutely fuck with this movie. You will absolutely fuck with this movie. It is so good, and it is right up your fucking alley. Like, not even getting into all the neat stuff it does with the Transformers lore. It does a lot of really neat stuff with the Transformers lore. I'm not even all that well versed in it, but it still does some neat stuff with it. It just has a lot of really good character work and theming going on that I think is just, like, your entire fucking vibe.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
You've seen the memes, you've seen the references.
I know that it's, like, exactly what I want. Yeah, no, there's, like... It's exactly what I would want. It's not perfect, but it's definitely something I wanted.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't say it perfectly addresses everything, but I do think it handles a lot of themes that you vibe with very well. Also, like, again, the voice acting is excellent, though I do want to give special shout-outs to John Hamm, who does his best politician voice for Sentinel Prime, and Brian Tyree Henry, who is fantastic as pre-Megatron. D16.
I've heard good.
Yeah. Cast overall is really good, but those two in particular are excellent standouts. Chris Hemsworth also does a really good job of just portraying Orion Pax as he slowly becomes Optimus Prime. Also, Keegan-Michael Key is hilarious in this movie, but that's always Keegan-Michael Key, so... Yeah, no, they have a really fantastic cast for this movie, and it does a lot of really interesting character stuff and a really good thematic stuff that I think is just... Honestly, this is probably the best Transformers stuff to come out in theaters in a long time. Like, Bumblebee was fairly good and far better than any of the Bay films, but this is better than that by substantially.
Mm.
Highly recommend it. Whether or not you're a hardcore Transformers fan, this is a really good film.
Okay. Alright, let's move on then to...
Now it's your turn to ramble again.
Wicked Part 1.
So, real talk, I had never seen Wicked before this.
Oh?
I had not seen the musical. I've listened to a few of the songs, because the original Broadway and, like, US tour was, like, going on while I was in high school and college.
And Broadway tickets are crazy expensive, yeah.
my wife loves Wicked, has seen it 4 times in various forms, including in theater in like London, I think. And so like just to give a background of like where I was going into this, you know, I love Jonathan Bailey. I'm indifferent on Ariana Grande. Never heard of Cynthia Erivo. Michelle Yeoh, love Michelle Yeoh. And Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum.
Mm.
Also, fun fact, Michelle Yeoh is not married, but married to the former chair of the FIA, which is the governing body for Formula One.
Fair enough.
So
definitely one of those weird moments.
Weird crossover moments, yeah.
Yeah. On a scale from 1 to the locked tomb, how gay is this?
A 7? Like, it's the implied gay.
Okay. So heavily implied, but nothing explicit.
Right. I would honestly say, like, this movie does a really good job of taking what was in the original musical and letting things expand, right? Like, the original musical is about 3 hours long. This movie is about 3 hours long, but only covers the first half of it. Like, the movie ends on defying gravity, which is the, like, first half line. But it does a really good job of like really letting characters like get to see the way in which Madame Marble manipulates Elphaba. You get to see the fear in Dr. Dillamon's eyes. You get to see the way, like, you get to see Elphaba care for Dr. Dillaman and learn to care for Dr. Dillaman and, like, understand why she cares so much about that plight. You learn to not like Nessa Rose, even though Nessa is, like, there's a lot there with Nessa and, like, a lot of baggage associated around her and Elphaba and all that. And, like, they do a good job of kind of layering all of that. The whole Bach sequence is like something that my wife missed in the original musical. It's like a kind of blink and you missed it. Whereas here it's given a lot more daylight, more like time. Jonathan Bailey is the hottest man to have ever lived.
And that goes without saying.
God, his big number, Dancing Through Life, is insane. It's real good.
I know this goes without saying, but how hard does the music slap in this?
Oh, so hard.
As expected. I have listened to this this version of Defying Gravity, and it goes fucking hard, so...
Yeah, no, Cynthia... I always say her last name wrong, but Cynthia Erivo, the actress who played Elphaba, was like, I need to pay rent for the rest of my life.
She fucking cashed in on it.
Yeah, no, it's very good. It was excellent. Like, you could tell, like, it rocks so hard, and like it's all surrounded by this very triumphant moment where she's soaring in the sky above the tower.
Oh, that's
like,
good. That's...
her black cape billowing in the wind as she races ahead of the flying one. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was actually really worried about Ariana. Like, my wife was also mainly really worried about this. It's like, Ariana Grande is an odd choice because it's such a pop star role. But
She's acted before.
she has, but like it's one of those things, right? Where like
Mhm.
cast a big name and you're never sure what you're gonna get.
Mhm.
Like Rihanna in Battleship, you know.
Yeah.
So like you never know, but like Ariana Grande was surprisingly really good as Galinda.
Mhm.
Like you love to hate her, and she does an excellent job of that. And like her big musical number of Loathing, it like that duet with her and Alphabet is so good. The choreography is really good. You really see why Belinda chooses the way she does. And like the big story, like the big thing is right is like Alphabet chooses to walk away from power. Like she's given the ability to be powerful if she sells her more, right?
Mhm.
And she chooses to walk away from it. Belinda is like almost not considered because she's not the chosen one in that way. But she clings so hard to power and prestige and all of these things. Why? And it's very good.
Mhm.
And like particularly with like one of the big reasons is because she cares for Fiyero and all of that, but also like she can't give up the chance for power. And because like in the big climax, the thing she said, like the thing that I don't know if this is also in the musical, but like the thing she says in the movie is just go back. You can all make this right. You were so close. You could have it all if you just didn't care. Essentially. And really see in that moment, like, no, Galinda's gonna choose to stay. And it's especially having watched this post-election, it's like, oh, this stings a lot.
Mhm.
Because you can see exactly what it is, right? Like, so I don't know. It's a good movie. I'm very excited. Part 2, the internet will not recover from Part 2.
One hasn't ever been able to recover from Wicked.
Yeah, it never did. This is just another wound. But like, Wicked Part 2 might actually kill some people.
That doesn't shock me. Yeah.
Are we okay to move on?
Yeah, no, even if you don't like musicals, this is worth seeing. Like, no joke. Like my father-in-law and my father both hate musicals. Funny, dad grew up in India, and they both went out of it going, really liked it. Like
That's good.
the musical aspect of it wasn't enough for them to dislike.
Sometimes a good thing is just really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Sorry, I went long.
No, it's alright.
Yeah, I would have watched this in the past couple weeks. Unfortunately, my last couple weeks were taken up with a different thing entirely.
Yep.
Let's move on to our penultimate item on the list. It is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson, Book 5 of the Stormlight Archive.
Speaking of my last 2 weeks, God, this fucking book.
You made a choice.
There were a lot of choices in this book. Brandon Sanderson had options, and he chose violence.
I've heard from you specifically.
So just to quickly interject before you get going in full. Sanderson has said it's finally time to move Stormlight to the back burner for a while. It was a 15-year effort to get the sequence done, and I need some time off from the series.
Yeah, he's not going to come back to it until 2030, he said.
That doesn't surprise me. He'll
have released about 60 books by then.
Yeah, no, it'll be like we'll have gotten all of Yolan, the Yolan
So actually,
14-book series.
If we're talking about the Cosmere and his plans for it, before we actually dive into the meat and potatoes of this book, he has said that his plans for the interim between the first and second halves of Stormlight are Mistborn Era 3 and sequels to Elantris and Warbreaker, specifically.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. That's what I recall specifically being mentioned about his plans. That said, there's a lot in this book. It is a thick-ass book. It is the longest book in the series. It is so long that they could not fit in the Ars Arcanum.
Yeah, that does not shock me.
A lot happens, and Brandon, status quo, what's that? Sanderson, once again, thoroughly upends the status quo.
Status quo, fuck you.
Fuck you, that's how. So you want to talk about the stuff that you've gotten up to so far first, again?
Yeah, I mostly just got to part,
Day
to,
2, right?
the Day 2 interlude, yeah.
Oh, the post-Day 2 interludes?
Yes.
Okay, so you finished Day 2. Cool. Lots of stuff happens. Day 1 is like, oh, there's only 3 perspectives? Okay, so they're gonna take it slow, and then Day 2 is like, a dozen perspectives, like, well, that escalated quickly.
I low-key love Queen Fen and Kamakal. Yanagon has risen in my estimation. I loved him, even when he was the street rat friend.
Honestly, this is a really good book for Yanagon. He gets a lot of development here, and I love all of it for him.
I'm kind of sad we don't get more Lift in the first part, like the first 2 days, but...
Lift doesn't get a lot of focus in this book overall, but Book 6 is her book, so I'm not surprised.
Well, we'll find out if that is true, because, you know...
Well, no, like, Sanderson has said who the flashback-focused characters will be for each book in the back half.
Yes,
and Lift is Book 6.
Yeah, but, like, actually that was supposed to be book invocable.
Yes, right.
I'm not... I get it, but also...
Fair enough. I won't spoil anything on that front. There's some really funny bits here and there. Like the bit where Maya calls Adolin a slut. Which is very funny.
I don't remember that part. I don't think I got to that.
That might be Day 3. That might be Day 3, but it's still very funny. She straight up asks him, Adolin, were you a slut?
This is the new... No mating.
Also, Wit's rant about the passions was fucking great.
Oh, I love that so much. Again, as someone who was coming out of very conservative Christianity, it was very satisfying.
Oh, absolutely. Like, that is just a really, really good bit of writing that Sanderson put there, and it's I really appreciate it.
Wit in general has been really good this book. I really like again, I don't love when a character is very clearly a mouthpiece for the author, like what Wit is here. However, that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy this. Because the other big one that I kind of rail against is Heinlein in Stranger in a Strange Land.
In fairness, Heinlein's a lot more heavy-handed in general than Sanderson.
Yes, but also fuck Heinlein.
Yes, that as well. Oh, also, turns out Brandon Sanderson has 5 total Mistborn eras planned. The one that's Era 3 is Ghostbloods, and Era 4 is the Cyberpunk era.
I knew Era 3 was supposed to be the SWAT team. Era 4 was supposed to be sci-fi.
Yeah, no, it's Era 3 is now spy fiction / SWAT team, Era 4 is Cyberpunk, and Era 5 is space opera sci-fi.
Jesus Christ.
And wouldn't you know it, that brings up the number of books in Mistborn up to 16.
He can't help himself.
No, he can't! Oh, but speaking of 16, we finally got the name of the final unnamed shard.
Oh, I think I saw like a brief mention of that. I don't know exactly which one it is.
Do you want to know the name?
Yeah. Tell me, I don't care.
It's Reason.
Honestly, that makes absolute.
Yeah, Reason's kind of disappeared for a while, so no shit.
The other spoilers I've heard, the shard's name at the end of this.
What was that? I'm sorry.
The new shard's name.
Oh yeah, that. Yep.
Which I find very good.
It's very, very good. Terrifying, but very, very good. There's a lot of shit going on. Days 9 and 10 are extremely eventful. Unsurprisingly, as you can tell from the page count list I posted.
Yeah, no, it's 62 hours in the fucking...
Yeah, overall it's 62 hours. In terms of page count, it's over 1,300 pages. Which is ludicrous. It is also the longest book in the series. It is almost 500,000 words on its own. To put that in perspective, the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy is 460,000 words, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Sanderson can't fucking help himself.
No, he cannot.
But yeah, the character writing in this book is very good. The focus in terms of character arcs in here is Kaladin and Zeth get the most development, and their character arcs are fucking excellent. I have never felt prouder of a fictional character in my life than I have felt of Kaladin.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I actually wept when I got to the culmination of his arc in this book. It's so good.
Oh.
Like, there's just... I did a lot of crying on day 10. There's a lot of good stuff.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I literally finished this book less than 15 minutes before we started the stream. Overall, it's a very big shakeup, but like I said, character arcs all really good. A lot of interesting lore implications, both from the ending of the book and just overall throughout. Also, the prologue does a very good job of reiterating how much Gavilar fucking sucks. Or sucked, rather.
That guy.
Very satisfying to see Zeth rock his shit once again.
Honestly, it's been after, like... Because, like, the turn happened once we got Navani's take on him.
Oh, yeah, no. Once we got the Rhythm of War version of the prologue, it became very... Yeah. Yeah, it became very clear that Gavilar was actually a shit stain.
Yeah, it's a good time. I really enjoy it, I think.
You just need to take your time getting through it, I know.
Yeah, and this is like, again, this is the kind of thing where I understand, like, I am the type of person, like, I would have wanted to get through this book as quickly as possible. However, everything that's kind of happened this year has been really hard, and also, there is something to be said about tragedy
and the catharsis you can gain therein. Yeah,
and Fuzzy has stated on many times, their worry about this book in particular and the way in which it it kind of handles that, I think is an entirely fair read, especially considering everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have no sense that something will change,
I get it. This is also a very dark book. I will not lie.
No.
There is enough levity and light to counteract it, in my opinion. And a lot of the character work in the show, in the book, rather, is on a positive turn that helps make this work so well. And honestly, the central arcs in the book, those of Kaladin and Zeth, are positive arcs. And handled expertly and with beautiful conclusions to them. I could not ask for better handling of those two arcs. I do appreciate in particular that Kaladin does not fight once until, I think, day 9.
Which I think is impressive.
Yeah. And much is made both in universe and out of his skill as a fighter, but I think it's important that he is allowed to make that choice to not fight and instead to focus on
I
helping himself and helping others.
Yeah, no, I think that is that is
It's just genuine, fantastic writing.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's No, I think it's excellent.
Yeah. Now, what were the other spoilers you wanted to discuss? Because I know you caught some stray spoilers on some things.
The main two were... the main three, I guess. Two were related, I suppose. Are Kaladin becoming the Herald. Yeah. Which I think is very funny, very fitting, considering Gavilar.
It's extremely fitting, and especially, it is a hilarious slap in the face to Gavilar's bullshit. But also just a fitting culmination of Kaladin's character arc. I gotta say, when he hit the 5th ideal, I was just vibrating in my seats. It's just so good. So fucking good. But yeah,
And then also, Dalinar becoming the Shard of Honor for a bit, and then giving it up, essentially to do the Sunmaker's.
Sunmaker's Gambit is a really interesting thing. I do wish Sanderson had seeded it in an earlier book, but I get why he did it here.
Yeah, it's essentially Lelouch's
Zero Requiem.
Zero Requiem, yeah.
Except instead of applying it internally, it's applied to a different person.
Yeah, it's applied externally, and also
partially relies on Taravangian being a power-hungry motherfucker like he has always been deep down.
Right, it fully leans on Vangian's inability to understand the good men.
Yes.
Because he's a utilitarian, and ultimately the weakness of a utilitarian.
Yep. And honestly, Taravangian is a fucking excellent villain.
No, he's great. I think he is because what is it? There was another thing I saw this year that was like, it's essentially why Solus is such a vastly interesting character and a villain, right? It's like Taravangian is a true believer. Fundamentally, he is a true believer.
He believes in the bullshit he's spouting, but there is a lie at the center of it. And, like, as much as he spouts his bullshit, he believes it. And that makes him all the more terrifying.
Like in Dragon Age, it is Solus is a monster. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Right bastard. But he believes he's doing a good thing. He's doing it for a good cause.
And that's Taravangian.
Taravangian is that, yeah.
And what's also interesting about Taravangian is, like, he knows what it's like to be weak and helpless, like, for all his power.
Right.
He has some degree of perspective that not a lot of other monarchs would have. And yet, at the end of the day, he still craves power like any other tyrant. And he will take that power the moment he has the opportunity to take it.
Well, I think that's partially because he didn't have power.
Yeah. Oh, right? Absolutely.
Like, this is exactly why why you cannot simply give power to the least, right? This is why, like, not to get too up in my own ass, but like, why ultimately Mao's Great Forward failed? Why, partially why the the October Revolution failed, was because like when you try to give power to the least without guardrails or without
people who know how to use it and have the restraint to not use it, in a retributive way or in a spiteful way.
Right. Like, you need someone who can take that step back. And,
who has perspective and who is willing to relinquish that power once they no longer need to use it for the actual goals that have been set out before them.
Right.
And Taravangian's not like that. Like, again, fantastically written villain. I understand why. I fully understand why Sanderson wrote out Rays in favor of Taravangian. Like,
Taravangian is a much more interesting version of this villain.
Yes, exactly.
Like, he's a much more interesting, like, in the exact way that Rays, in the exact way it describes the passions, that is why Taravangian is a monster.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, I'm not going to go and describe Rays as cartoonishly evil, because that's reductive, but Rays is a lot more simplistic as a character than Taravangian is. And it doesn't help him that we don't get as much time looking into his character as we do with Taravangian. Because we've seen Taravangian we've known since book 1 in a pretty detailed manner, because he's both a character that we see from the perspective of Shallan and Yasna, as well as he has his own interludes. And he is actually he has his own interlude arc in Wind of Truth. And it's a fascinating look into his psychology and into what makes him tick. Whereas we didn't get that with Rays. Rays was just kind of like introduced in Oathbringer, and he makes a big entrance, and he is intimidating, but he's not terrifying, and he's not as insightful as Taravangian is. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think like it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So, I'm really excited to get through this book. I just am not excited to get through this book. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yes, there's some really good stuff in here, and while it does get dark, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Also, I will say, when you get to day 9, let me know, because there's something at the very front of day 9 that I want to see your reaction to.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah, specifically chapter 100.
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, once you finish the book, when you get around to it, take your time. Don't feel rush. We should have a podcast discussing it, because there's a lot of stuff to get into on this book. Like, God, we've barely scratched the surface. What's in here? But yeah, what else did I want to mention before we finished up with this and moved on to the last thing? Oh yeah, Zeth's backstory is really interesting.
Heard.
Like, I think you've seen a bit of it so far, but it is really interesting. But, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
no, the character arcs, yeah, I'm good. Character arcs are really good. There is one slight spoiler bit that I do want to mention. There's a bit, where, you get this, sweet, scene between, Lane and, Renarin. And then, as that scene is coming to a close, Renarin's friend is like, by the way, Shallan is, back by the window. She seems to be jumping up and down and squealing for some reason. I don't know what that's all about.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. It's very funny. Like I said, there's some nice bits and pieces of light and levity here and there that help prevent this book from being a total from being a downer. Like, big status quo shakeup and a lot of shit goes wrong, but it's not all lost, and there's not all hope is gone.
Okay.
There is good to be found. Especially in this book, because holy shit. But yeah, damn it, Sanderson, why do you have to write such good, long books?
I'm excited. I am. That being said, I am not concerned, but I want to know.
Just ask me what you want to know.
I'm concerned, like, how he's gonna up the ante and, like, where he takes it, you know?
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I think part of the reason he's taking a break from this series is because, like, he needs to get the rest of the Cosmere to a point where it feels appropriate to kind of, like, bring things together in the second half of Stormlight. I think is what he's going for right now. But yeah, I do wonder which book of his is going to be coming out next. He's probably going to be taking a short break before he puts out his next book.
So, what? 2 months?
Yeah, 2-3 months. He's probably going to chillax, maybe just write one book. See if that holds him over.
I mean, I was going to say it was going to be 2 or 3 months until the next book came out, so...
No, I was more joking. Like, he cannot... This man cannot take breaks. He is the Oda of the Western literature world.
He might be more Stephen King than Stephen King.
Why do you mention that? I think I posted a Tumblr post about that in the
No,
in the
Stephen
server.
King needs cocaine. Brandon Sanderson needs a vacation.
I don't think he'll be able to take a vacation. But yeah, I know I posted something, but it was a while ago. But I think Stephen King is legit scared of the amount of work Sanderson does.
So would I.
I both envy him and fear him. Like, that is not a mortal man. But yeah, no, God, I am looking forward to more Cosmere, but I'm also dreading it. Because this was, like, the biggest status quo shakeup so far. Which is saying something. Like, I don't think Sanderson knows how to just... Well, it's not that he doesn't know, it's more like he doesn't like sticking to a status quo for very long. And also, that's pretty refreshing.
Right?
Sorry?
No, you're right. I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, let me know when you finish this book so we can talk more about it and go into the nitty-gritty of all the shit that happened in this book. Because there is a lot to talk about, and we could honestly spend like 2 hours discussing it.
I'm happy for y'all to do. I'm happy for y'all to do a Stormlight stream.
Yeah, we could do that.
It gives Milmy more of a reason to do the ever necessary Dragon Age of the Veilguard stream.
Yes. But that is something we will discuss at a later time. For now, let's move on to the final point of discussion for the stream,
which is X-Men 97.
It was so good. The show is really good. Like,
no, I agree. I'm very impressed. Again, Gambit existing in this way is great.
Gambit in general in this show was very good. I was heartbroken by Remember It. Just absolute fantastic episode. And great fucking send-off. I am very scared to see what happens in the next season when we get Apocalypse fucking around. Oh boy. But yeah, the content of the show itself is excellent. Like, where do I even start with this one? Like, Magneto serves. You get great stuff with Magneto. You get Charles Xavier, as always, being, like, the Charles Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is probably my favorite non-Patrick Stewart version of Charles Xavier, honestly.
Yeah, this is actually a good Charles. Because also, like, it leads Charles to be the dick that he is. Lets him be the colossal dickwad.
It lets him be a colossal dickwad without being too much of a colossal dickwad.
Also, let Scott Summers be the good, like, the actually good X-Man.
Yes! There is so much good stuff with Scott here. He is really well handled.
Like, I love the joke of Scott being goody two-shoes bad, but also.
Yes. Also, I just love how they just went wild with comic book shit this season. It's just like so much good comic shit in here.
I mean, Morph's whole thing.
Yeah, Morph is great. Gotta love all the shit with Nightcrawler and Rogue, and all the shit going on with Genosha, which was both excellent and heartbreaking. Also, Storm's whole thing was pretty interesting this season. I'm also glad that they didn't let Wolverine overshadow the whole cast like so many X-Men adaptations do.
I love the fact that Storm is given the ability, is given her goddess form.
Yes.
Or treated like the goddess that she is.
Oh, absolutely. We got a lot of good stuff with Jean Grey, who just is chronically underserved in non-Phoenix storylines. It's like, come on, writers of adaptations, write one story about Jean Grey that doesn't involve her going full Phoenix. One story. But yeah, no, the stuff with Jean this season was really good. Rogue had some really good material too. But yeah, God. And just the animation in this! The animation was awesome! I really love how much experimentation a lot of series are doing now with like cel-shaded 3D stuff.
Yes. I think they've done a really good job.
Mm-hmm. And I know this all stems from Spider-Verse, because Spider-Verse is what really kicked this off in earnest. And Arcane was the first big follower in those footsteps, but this is also a really good step in that direction. Just the stylized cel-shaded 3D animation style is really good and really effective at just conveying motion, conveying action, conveying character expressions. Just excellent. Honestly, how else do we describe the show besides really good? I do also like how it handled the villainy aspect of this, both Magneto and his general flip-floppery on the hero-villain scale, and the actual villains of the show, or rather the season, were really well handled. You have the big bad of the overarching season, Bastion, who is an absolute bastard, but damn if he isn't charismatic as hell, honestly. Second only to Magneto in the cast. Also, seeing him get the shit beat out of him was very satisfying.
As you'd hope.
Yep. But what other thoughts do you have, Gan?
No, that's all the ones I... That's all I had.
Sorry for stealing anything else you might have said.
No, you're good.
Yeah, X-Men 97 is really good. You really don't need to watch much of the old show to understand what's going on here. I think Marvel did put out a recap on YouTube to help those who want to just jump in fresh with this one, which helps enormously. But yeah, highly recommend this one. Very good show. Really good at just handling the comics material in a really good way, and really well presented.
Alright. Then, I think that is everything for tonight. Not quite as long as the gaming stream, by about half an hour.
Not much shorter, though.
By about half an hour, but this is what happens with these end of year streams. They're always on the long side. God, in terms of time, the fucking manga stream's gonna be hell.
Have fun with
That's gonna be mostly you, dude.
I know. I'm gonna have to make sure I have water prepared for that one. I
was the editor-in-chief this time, but
But yeah,
Yeah.
so thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. As said, Sunday is going to be the Manga of 2024 stream, so look forward to that. Well, manga and a light novel. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and all that YouTube stuff.
Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. Please press that bell icon to get notifications when we upload a new video.
And otherwise, hopefully we'll see you on Saturday. Good night.
Later.